So early. Good morning. Good morning. I was definitely asleep yesterday. I didn't even get to watch uh, all the little after conversations. And I don't mean little, but I just mean general. I didn't get to look at any of that stuff because I fell asleep last night. I'll give you guys a minute to travel if you're awake. I don't want to do something too, I don't know if I want to do something on StreamYard, actually reviewing the conversation, because that would be nice. I just don't know if I'm going to do it yet. Hey, Kemal Edigizul, whatever that name is. What's going on? Good morning, people. Good morning. I don't know how my sound is. Oh, y'all see the frost on the top of this ish? That's crazy. A little bit, see if anybody else wakes up, if anybody else is awake. I'm definitely still deciding if I want to have an actual review of the conversation from yesterday, if any of you guys were participants of that. Oh my lord, oh my Lanta, this is crazy. Only in New England. Oh, I was gonna go ahead and open that damn sunroof, but it's all frozen over. I don't know how my sound is doing right now. Y'all let me know how my sound is doing. Y'all let me know how my sound is doing. I know it's early. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Most of y'all are probably still in bed, still clutching your pillows. But I did want to have this little talky talk with you guys all. Shout out to everybody who's here so far. Don't just linger in the clouds. Hit the like button, engage in the chat, and I'll get into it. I am driving, so let me see. Keep eyes on the road. My eyes are on the road, okay? Relax. My eyes are on the road. I'm definitely paying attention. But yesterday I was part of a debate for a brief period of time, which I expected, absolutely. Very brief period of time. And the conversation was interesting, to say the least. I do low-key want to wait until I have my notebook in front of me, because I took notes, because they told us to take notes. But I took notes on some of the information that was put in the conversation pretty early. And there's a few things I want to touch on. But y'all know we're still waking up. I'm still waking up. I'm just up because I had to go help with something really quickly. Woo! But I'm about to get into it. It's a little early, but y'all are going to get it nice and early. Y'all are going to get it nice and early. Honestly, I might even do a review for my phone. I might do a review for my phone, because the StreamYard reviews they're not bad. I just hate having to go into the video today. Good morning, beautiful. Be safe on the road. Thank you, Nay. I will. You too. Good morning. It's still the holiday weekend. I hope you guys got some shopping in. I hope you were able to, get a little discount and all that stuff going before Christmas. You guys know this holiday season is rough. It's a rough one. The economy is not in the greatest position. Yes, people still work and have their little coins, but there's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of money to circulate. This wasn't a crazy Black Friday like I used to see when I was a kid. So things have truly changed significantly in the world. When I was a kid, there used to be stampedes outside of Walmart. And not even when I was a kid, when I was a grown-up, people were still doing that. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I know y'all are here. Don't just cloud watch and look at me and watch me while I drive. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Some of these trolls are icky. I don't forecast Bitcoin because cryptocurrency is going to have its ups and its downs. So now I know people are saying some cryptocurrency paid off, but if you talk about that in the chat, I'm gonna assume you're a bot. I'm sort of waiting until I get home because I do want to talk about the points that I wrote down. Now I did speak up, but I didn't want to speak up that often so that I didn't come across biased. Because trust me, even though I said I was going to be super biased prior to the debate, I was still trying to be extremely objective and be listening to each of them's each of their opinions on the subject matter. So I wrote a bunch of stuff down. I didn't just assume, hey, you're dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tried to listen to it out before I judged. And I did write some pretty decent notes. So I'm going to look at those in a minute. And shout out to the 50 people in here. If you guys want to hit the like button, that would be nice. You know, if you're going to be here in my house, right, in my chat and stuff, watching, whether you're from the clouds or not, I would appreciate if you guys hit the like button, engage, say hello. I don't know how many of you guys actually know the subject matter that I'm talking about, but I am just gonna try and do some of it on my phone because I really didn't want to do StreamYard. Not only I didn't want to do StreamYard, but it's almost like a different audience on these verticals. So as much as I prefer StreamYard to show stuff, I also prefer the people that come in via vertical stream because they don't know anybody in the sector, and so they'll be more likely to be objective in the conversation a lot of the times. So good for you, Icky. I don't want to talk about Bitcoin, so I don't want to talk about Bitcoin. I'm almost to my house, and I forgot when I left the little notebook I had yesterday because I was going to take that with me and touch on the points, but I'm not going to get coffee like I was originally gonna. I'm going to make coffee at my house and talk about this conversation. Y'all see the frost is gone. This was all frosty up here a minute ago. But the conversation that I'm going to be talking about was a debate between some people on YouTube. I'll say, okay, so I can say this without my notes. This is a debate of logic between logic and male chauvinism. Male chauvinism versus logic. And I say that because both people were men, first of all, but only one person had a logical argument. One person appealed to chauvinistic men and chauvinistic opinions of men, and the other person appealed to logic, right? Because I think in many ways they were extremely objective about the whole subject, and I was actually sort of impressed because I thought it was just going to be, I thought it was going to go one way, and it ended up being an extremely objective conversation from the other side. So I'm going to touch on that, but I really want to look at my notes while I touch on that because I wrote down, and I'm going to explain why I'm calling it a chauvinistic perspective, because I'm not just saying that. Like, I'm not one of those people that just calls men chauvinists and what do you call? I don't just call men that just because they're men. You know, you're not a chauvinist or misogynist just because you have a penis. But um, chauvinistic men absolutely do make really, really stupid statements about gender and gender identity. So let me close this, and I'm about to go inside, and we're gonna chit chat while I play Sims. I do still have to get the extension thing for because I realized my silly self ordered the wrong piece on Amazon, like a dummy. So I had to cancel it mid-order. But let me get up here real quick. All right, I'm gonna play some of it. Just gonna be through my phone, cause ooh, let me get myself some ginger ale real quickly. But yeah, I think the discussion ended up being chauvinist. Men are men, women are women, period. What does that mean? What does that mean, Bryce? Because I get it. I get that each... I got a little pocket. Hey, Kiki. What's going on, girl? I don't know if you saw any of the debate yesterday, but that is what I'm going to be chit-chatting on. I just had to run an errand. And I was like, you know, I may as well get this convo started. So, let me get my butt up here. Hold on. All right. Oh, you know what? This. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. It was a mess. I think Fatty be trolling. He didn't take it seriously. Right. But I think the difference, I think, in this conversation was that there was just like I think there was a too big of an intellectual gap. And I'm not just saying that because it's Taz. I truly think some of these guys are so dumb and they're so used to being around people who encourage the stupidity. Hey, Victorious One. They're so used to being around people who will support them whether they have a good argument or not. And so he's probably used to, at this point, having debates. I'm not going to call that a debate, but having conversations like that with no pushback. So that's what I will say. So let me put this here. Oh, my phone's at 80, so we're doing good on... Where is my notebook? What did I do with it? It was right here while I was debating. I must have took it over here when I was talking crap yesterday night. Where did it go? Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get my notebook from yesterday, and I don't know where it went. Yeah, I had some good notes in there too. He probably fell somewhere back there, but because I was tired last night. Too many errands during the day. To where by the time the night came, oh, it fell. Okay. Fun fact of the day. Okay, whatever that means. All right, and I have it up. The funny thing is I have it up here because after I left there, I just left. So, there we go. I'm gonna have it in the background. Oh, ew. You know, they did their little after debate shows. All right. So the conversation was supposed to be feminism or which one is worse for women, feminism or patriarchy, okay? And when we started the conversation from the top, each of them came out with like their points. This is how I knew the conversation wasn't going to be anything other than like male chauvinist, stereotypical type conversation, right? So they each had an opening statement. Pegasus Bussy, his was victimhood. He said women have more rights and entitlements than men in 2024. That's false. Women have more rights than other women in 2024. That's correct. Like that's a fact. Absolutely, we women today in 2024 are doing way more than women of the past. Nobody would negate that, right? But his I don't know how victimhood ties into that also. I think some men just hate women, and so they believe that women are just so too free. They're too able to do whatever they want to do. I don't know. Let me wait. Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. Not to mention all the theatrics as well. Bryce Morton says there's no such thing as gender pay gap. See, this is the problem though, Bryce. You guys listen to dumbass people like Fatty because they will tell you that, right? That's what bothered me. Somebody like Fatty he's not even American, first of all, but he will tell you there's no gender pay gap. And you know what he did? He cited supermodels. He cited supermodels to say that there is no gender pay gap. If that's not the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard in my life, I don't know what is, all right? Because first of all, most women are not supermodels. The majority of women are not supermodels. And most women aren't getting paid like that. Even models in the industry talk about not getting paid properly, right? And then he brought up corn, because that's his favorite thing to watch, is that corn is, there's a pay gap in corn. Are y'all going to watch a bunch of niggas in corn? Are y'all going to watch a bunch of niggas? Because last time I checked, it was men who were thirsty. And they're the ones who need corn. So again, mentioning fields that women supposedly do more, really dumb argument. The way they explain the gender pay gap is false. Right. And the funny thing is, Taz tried to bring up an article from the, the U.S., it's like the place that keeps the government accountable. I forget exactly what the name of the article was, because every time he put up an article, they acted like, what is this? Data? We don't like data. If you guys can hit the like button, there's 68 of y'all and only 8 likes. That's so mean. If you're going to come into my house, dust your feet off a little bit. Hit the like button. I'm not mad that Trump won. Bryce says, my girl and I worked at the same place and got paid the same, got the same raises. That's you and your girl. That's you and your girl. We don't all work in factories with our men. You know what I mean? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're personalizing your situation. Do you know how many women in corporate will never make the same amount as other men in corporate who are doing the same thing? That's like literally trying to use the model argument and say women get paid more who are models. Is that necessarily true? That might not even be true, because the men who own those industries probably make more than everybody. Yeah, victim, I knew I wasn't going to last long. Trust me. I knew that if I was being brought up there as a judge, it was just so they can say they had somebody who's unbiased. Because even though the girl actually didn't agree with anything that Fatty said, straight up said he had no data, that he was just making up stuff. I missed the part, but apparently she said Taz got weak in the end, and so Fatty won. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like, these people aren't really unbiased. We know Lucky's not unbiased. I'm sorry. I know her little raggedy behind be getting all mad all the time and trying to act like somebody got a personal issue. No, she's not unbiased either. She works with that camp of people all the time. She didn't even have a question. So it was like she was just there as a talking head. Not even a talking head. She was just there as an aesthetic of the background. Had nothing to say. But I knew what it was. I was either there just so they could say they weren't unbiased, right? And also to get donations because they know me speaking up the little bit that I did that I was going to get knocked off. Now, notice how when I was there, he kept mentioning, why aren't the moderators correcting him? Why aren't the moderators correcting Taz? Why aren't the I said, what do I have to correct? Every time he had a statement, he had evidence to back it up. Every time Fatty made a statement, it was ridiculous. Oh, women don't work overtime, even when they have babies. Do you know how many women I worked with in the healthcare field who literally took overtime positions so that they can be present in their children's life? So you know what that means? That means during the day, they're taking care of their kids in their home, and in the nighttime, they go to work. You know how many women do that? He literally said, and he didn't make any concessions and say, oh, some women, most women. No, most women, no. Most women do not have positions where they just get off on a perfect time and go home. You know how many nurses, yes, nurses work 16-hour days, 2 shifts. Some nurses work 4 days, and in those 4 days, they work 12 hours back to back to back to back to back. We already know nursing is a female-dominated, it's a woman-dominated field, I should say. Some of them nurses ain't shit, so I should say female, but woman-dominated field. That's just what it is. They said also the motherhood penalty is a significant portion of the gender. There's no motherhood penalty. Women are expected to give birth to a baby and go back to work. Their baby will be 3 months old, and those women will be right back to work. Do you know how disgusting that is? And I'm only saying because a baby is supposed to be bonding with the mom during that time, and women still go back to work. So how is it that women are leaving their infant children in daycare centers or with family or whatever? And actually now daycare is becoming less common because too expensive. Exactly, victim. 6 weeks after birthing baby, 6 weeks after pushing a baby out of your body, which is literally a life or death situation for a lot of women, they're right back at work. He had the audacity to say, oh, women get off work at 7 o'clock and that's it. They don't got to do that. They don't got to work overnight. You know how many bandits don't even have a job? Do you know how many bandits don't even have a job? A lot of these bandits will go and do DoorDash. And I'm not trying to shame, but I'm just saying, a lot of these bandits don't even want to work for nobody. They'll go and do DoorDash. There's so many ways in 2024 that a man does not have to live in this misogynistic fantasy that he's talking about. Right? There's so many ways they don't have to do that. They literally have the time today. Men can literally be in soft roles. They can be in soft roles today and nobody blinks an eye because women can be in hard roles too. You know how many women welders there are out there now? The man, the legend says the patriarchy is the only way. What are we talking about? Do you guys even know what the patriarchy is? Do you guys know what it is? I'm looking over here like Tyrone Biggums with my ashy ass lips. But okay, so he said women in 2024 have more rights, more entitlements than men. If that were true, why did Roe v. Wade just get overturned? Wow. Kiki Star says, with my son, when I came back from maternity leave, I was laid off and got my position took by a man. It happens. Exactly. It happens all the time. Men can come in to the same role that you've been doing and make more money. Victim said, the patriarchy is 10 white man, not you, nigga. Oh, Lord. Here's another thing. He said, so I'm going over Pegasus Bussy because you guys see here, I'm a smart cookie. So even though I was in the other chat trolling a little bit, I'm not slow. This is for the bandits who were trying to say that I wasn't really taking the debate seriously and I wasn't taking notes. Look at Pegasus Bussy's side and look at Taz's side. I was taking notes. No one likes a weak man. Well, a bunch of these niggas are weak as hell, so I don't know what you're talking about. But okay, so the next part of this is Pegasus. Women don't want equality because they don't want to do dirty jobs. Women don't want equality because they don't want to do dirty jobs. This is why I say these niggas are dumb. This is why I say these niggas are dumb. And I'm not saying they're dumb just because I don't like him. My problem is, how many dirty jobs do women do all the time? What do we mean by dirty jobs? What do we mean by dirty jobs? Are we talking about maintenance? Are we talking about like cement work? What dirty jobs is it that women don't want to do? Scrubbing old black men in nursing homes is a dirty job. Right. Women want fairness, at least that's what I want. Right. And I think when Taz talked about equity versus equality, that he made a pretty good point with that. I would have liked for them to have a deeper conversation on that, but it wasn't going to happen with these bandits. Shout out to the 90 people in here. If you guys could hit the like button, I would appreciate it. I know it's early. I know y'all are cloud watching, but hit the like button for me, please. You're here. Wipe your feet off at the door and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Again, dirty jobs. Good morning, Miss Chakra Love. You got buried in there with all the bandits. I'm so sorry. My girl get real. Okay. How many women are working down in the mines? There's actually women working in the mines. There actually is. And a lot of the reason why there isn't has to do with, again, male chauvinistic beliefs that these certain jobs are reserved for men because you got to be big and strong. A lot of the times they're not going to hire women like that. Look at the welding field. A lot of women will apply to those jobs and the men will get them over them. Steward workers and deep sea divers, black men are not doing those jobs either. Right. They barely want to be garbage men, and we know we need garbage men. They barely want to be garbage men. They feel too big and bold to be a garbage man, but they want to argue that women don't want the dirty jobs. The men asking about women in mines ain't ever seen a mine. They don't even know what it looks like under there. Nathan says, you're mistaking patriarchy for competence. I'm not mistaking patriarchy. This is the arguments that they made. Shout out to the 100 people in here. If you guys could hit the like button, please, that would greatly appreciate it. Don't just come in here, wipe your dirty feet off. You wipe your dirty feet off at the door. Wipe your feet off at the door and hit the like button. The next point that Pegasus made. Feminism empowers whores. Listen. Feminism empowers whores. Y'all see why I don't have time for this? You know what I would start saying? You empower whores with your consumption of corn. Right? Men overconsume corn. You empower whores, not feminism. Not feminism. They will pay to play. That's what's empowering whores. You know? But they literally that's an opinion, not a fact. Exactly. It's not a fact. There is nothing about feminism. Now here's where I knew it wasn't going to take a good turn either. The fact that Taz was referencing first wave, second wave, and Fatty was referencing social media feminism. Why are you mentioning social media feminism? They love hoes, but hoes ain't loyal. Right. OnlyFans, Instagram, cornball men can't live without it. Right. Men get paid 1/10 that women do in corn. Okay, so go watch male corn so that they can get paid. Women don't be watching male corn like that. Go watch male corn so that you guys can get paid. Because 9 times out of 10, it's you niggas watching them hoes all day, paying them OnlyFans, paying for those OnlyFans women's great-great-grandchildren to go to Ivy League schools because y'all are thirsty. How many of these OnlyFans models have retired because of singular men? Singular men will pay millions of dollars to OnlyFans models. It's called supply and demand. Exactly. Men are the real 304s. Yes, they are, Victorious One. Bryce says, as a guy, I've never contributed any money to any sort of OnlyFans support. That's you. That's you. But if we're talking about the whole of men, More men support it than don't. So saying that feminism, which has nothing to do, by the way, empowers whores, y'all are something else. Y'all are something else. Then he said, women want societal benefits of social benefits of patriarchy without the actual patriarchal dominance. What social benefits do patriarchy have? Because the examples that were given were shoveling, um, changing oil. There's men who call AAA to change their tires and oil. Do you guys know that? Yes, you can. No. No, just kidding. What did she say? She said they bought farts in a jar. Yes, they did. Listen, this is why I don't understand why they're getting mad at horse when they buy farts in jars. Hey, Miss Jill, you guys purchase farts from jars. You guys purchase dirty underwear. You guys purchase sweaty, pissed on underwear. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? There are so many feminist artists that promote sex work. Have you ever heard of Andrea Duncan's? Again, we're having a conversation about feminism, and we're not making any concessions for the different waves of feminism, right? We're just talking about internet, digital, 2024 feminism. Well, we should have talked about feminism in waves, right? Because just saying feminism in general is bad for... No, it's not. There's certain waves of feminism that we needed. Am I going to admit that in 2024 there's some toxic parts of feminism? Absolutely. But the whole of feminism is not toxic. We needed a lot of it. You know, he made an argument that there would be no feminism without men. If women never advocated, men wouldn't just give women equal or equity or whatever it is that they're claiming that they're trying to give women, even though they're really not. Chica says, you're speaking about such a low percentage. We're supposed to bow to the few and forget the many. Makes no sense. What are you talking about? Feminism is a luxury position. That's interesting. Very interesting. Women aren't defending the front lines of Ukraine. Actually, there's plenty of women who are fighting in the war in many different ways, many different capacities. Some of you guys could get your ass beat by some of these women in the military in the United States who went to the Ukraine, who went to all these different countries. How many women who were soldiers passed away in a lot of these conflicts? We haven't had nearly as many soldiers passing away as during like the 03 Bush era. But there's plenty of women who've served in the military. So it's like, again, what are we talking about? Ain't no soldier or woman. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. Victorious One says, power is being taken. No one is giving you anything. Right. So again, we want social benefits of patriarchy, which nobody can tell me what those are, without patriarchal dominance. Some of these podcasters and content creators need to be in the front lines. Listen, some of these people aren't even from the United States. First of all, you're telling me there's no pay gap in the United States and you're not even from here. Somebody brings up literal, I believe it was the U.S. Bureau of Accountability, something like that. He said, what is this? He said, what is this? We have offices for accountability in this country. Yes, they might not be completely 100% honest. They might not be 100%, really doing what they're saying they're supposed to do. But they do more than a lot of countries. They do more than a lot of countries. Nay says, please, people, stop saying modern women. Everyone on this planet is modern but can have traditional values, but everyone lives modern. We all live present day, yes. We live in present day society. These men will talk about, oh, we miss the women of old. Y'all didn't know them hoes. Y'all didn't know them, and they're not all hoes, but I'm just saying, you guys didn't know them. And they didn't know you. They probably wouldn't even spit in the direction of these men of today. Women are too much educational. I was being facetious here with how I wrote it because he was barely speaking English. But women are too educated. This is what he said. He said, women in the West are too educated. Again, very chauvinist. And then the last thing I wrote before I got booted off: women should be advocating for men to get more education. Now, why would women, and I'm going to go over TAZ's too because I looked at both of them, but why would women need to be the ones to advocate for men to get education and not men? Why do we have to put all of our effort in making sure that you guys get educated, but you don't? Because men rarely encourage each other to get educated. A lot of these men will encourage each other to go to the NBA, to go in, to go to the, to go play sports, college basketball, whatever. That is what they do. Why do women have to tell men, or have to encourage men to get education? Why aren't men encouraging each other to get education? Women encourage each other to get education. They don't wait for men to do that. If we waited for men to tell us how much education to get, we wouldn't get any. Right? So why aren't men encouraging each other to get education? Why is it our responsibility as women to tell you to get an education? I don't get it. Let me read some of these comments. Victorious One said, men want doormats who make sandwiches in silence. Right. Who make sandwiches in silence, who don't question them, who actually, they also want them to work and pay half the bills. They're not going to say that, but they want women to work and pay half the bills and also still bow down to them. Miss Jill says, nay, if we were still traditional, these dudes would be heading outside right now to chop wood for the stove, and we would be gathering eggs from the hen house. But we're not even remotely traditional. Jamal says, Flora, you know Taz messed up when Fatty asked him to say something he disagreed with his wife about on females' rights. He could not answer. Now, first of all, why is the conversation turning about his wife? Because this is what you non-married ass niggas love to do. You guys love to pit couples against each other. Right? Y'all think because you were able to manipulate a couple that wasn't even solidified or anything like that, right? I'm not going to mention who. That you're going to be able to get all up in people's marriages and change their opinions. Why are you asking that? What does that have to do with feminism? What does that have to do with feminism? If he had a woman, we'd ask him, do you disagree with that woman? But he don't. What does that have to do with the conversation about which is better for who? Which is better for women? It's not related. There are all current feminist books. Okay. Men get education in areas that they believe will get them fast money. And what is that doing for men? If women are the most homeowners, the most educated, the most entrepreneurs, what is that doing for men? It's obviously not doing anything. It's obviously causing a lot of you guys to keep working at McDonald's for the rest of your life. But instead of getting better and telling men to get education, you don't. Jaden Pierre said most entrepreneurs, absolutely. Women are becoming the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, and specifically black women. Absolutely. There are no women fighting on the front lines in Ukraine. That is a lie. Okay, so ask those women that are serving in the military right now what they're doing. The ones who are being shipped overseas, ask them what they're doing. Because I think there's a lot of stupid talk about what women are allowed to do in the military. Someone reminded me yesterday, women have been serving in the military since the freaking before before the Civil War. They were nurses. They were on the front lines helping people, helping medicine and all that, like healing people physically and stuff like that. Fatty's flying monkeys are up early today. Oh yeah, Chakra. You know they're going to come in here and try to say, you know Taz lost that debate, right? He lost that debate. They had 3 judges there in the end. All of them were his friends. All of them were prepaid to say, he probably told Ashley in the back, hey, act super against me, but in the end, you say that I won. Because that's what they do. You know that's what they do. If there were 3 objective people, which people can say I'm not objective because I said I wasn't going to be, I did not go up there and be completely against Fatty. I actually tried to listen to what he had to say. He just wasn't saying shit. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. I'm going to play some of it in a minute, but Lucky is pimping them. Yeah, I mean, I hope she got a little money for being up there because she really was just there for looks. Really just there to be a part of the background. She didn't say shit. Women do low-paying jobs office jobs, hour jobs, nail jobs, that things like that pay low. You know how much these nail techs make? Y'all just talking. Men start companies, and which one of you niggas started a company? Show me a Fortune 500 company that some of you dusty ass niggas have started. Most of these men are not building companies. They're not doing any of that. So I don't know what you're talking about. Oprah, Rihanna are billionaires, right? This idiot has no facts. Okay. Juju said, that's the culture here. My ex-Nigerian had a great job and was allowed to stay home with his parents until he's ready to marry you. Oh yeah, I know that shit happened to. I know a girl that her boyfriend, that was the situation. His ass literally stayed with her. She was out there working, had jobs, making money, building her credit up. Dude was still living with his mom. When he finally got a good job, he disappeared on her. Prior to that, she was the one taking care of everything. Madam C.J. Walker was the first black millionaire, right? I think men and women are both pretty swell. Yeah, they sure are most of the times. Judy says a lot of cultures stay home until they go off and marry. Getting women just to impress women is stupid. Right. Who painted your house? Okay. Y'all are just on some weird stuff. Is this girl dumb? Are you mad? Nathan says the difference between male and female jobs is men take jobs that are more dangerous and require more hours to work. Not always. Not always. There's still, actually, if you saw a lot of those construction, those dangerous like tree cutting, all those type of fields, they're actually in dire need of employees because these men don't want to work. These men of today don't want to work. They don't want to work those strenuous, dangerous jobs, actually. So they're joining women in the care field and teaching and things like that. So I think you're kind of talking out of your ass. Facts, Flora. Y'all just say anything right. Juju says, educate why some of these men feel overly important. Let's be honest, other race of people will make sure the electricity is on. Right. There's masculine men because majority of men in this country is feminine. Right. Stop being mad at women because you can't lead. The most joyful women are single and child free. Right. Because a lot of times we're living in a society where women are now expected to contribute to the household income. Let's be real. Most of these men can't afford, and even if they can't afford, they're not having their women stay home. The women are contributing to the finances, to the bills and all that the same way men are. And maybe that's why they're upset. Because they want those women to bow down to them. Victim says, black men are dancing on TikTok and buying microphones. Dangerous jobs, my ass. Right. Isn't, what's his name, No Fugazi? This nigga talks about making six figures. His whole job is in one part of his social media, feeding a fantasy of black men and white women together. And the other half is telling men not to date single mothers. This is a lot of these men's jobs. This is how they're making six figures. A lot of them are podcasters. Isn't, what's his name? O'Shea Dookie, isn't he a podcaster in Africa now? This nigga's literally in Africa making US dollars on YouTube. Like, what are we talking about? What hard jobs? What hard jobs? We see some of these bandits tell you that they're not going to work, they don't want to work under the white man, and you see them on YouTube all day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday. Jamal says most jobs do not require a degree. A degree should only be in fields like medicine, engineering, law, etc. Well, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. I think that's partially correct. I think a lot of these jobs that they do make people get degrees on, they shouldn't have, because now they're upping the ante and saying, well, to make real money, you need a master's. But before, it was a bachelor's. So in some ways, I do agree with certain jobs. These ninjas are the new Oprah Winfrey's, gossip and hot topics for a living. Right, Pegasus himself. Gossip and hot topic. Now, let's talk about Taz's talking points, just so people don't think I'm over here being unbiased. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that I did follow the conversation that Pegasus was trying to have, even though it was full of shit. So Taz said in the beginning, patriarchy is a system of misogyny, right? And I think this really upset the fellas. The fellas don't like when they don't like when men mention misogyny, right? Because misogyny is ingrained in these spaces. Let's be real. Like, let's be real. In these spaces, majority of the conversations are based in misogyny, chauvinism, stereotypes, talking out of their ass. That's most of what these conversations really are about. They're not having legitimate, interesting conversations about, you know, men's role in the world, how men should be building, and da 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 da. They're not having those conversations like that. Shaka Love says, I got a master's degree, best decision I ever made. Yeah, I have to go back to school. I have to go back to school. And honestly, that was the main reason why I left my field. People were like, well, why would you leave? Why would you leave such a good job to go over there to Wisconsin? Dumbass, what can I do with a bachelor's in 2024? The plan was always for me to get a degree. You can't survive in this country anymore with just a bachelor's. Women who have education, who have bachelors, are still making more than a lot of, like, a lot of people who don't have degrees. A lot of men who are working in the low fields. That's why they get upset. But even a bachelor's degree isn't worth that much unless it's like nursing or engineering. You have to go and you have to get more education, and women are told that. Can you guys hit the like button for real? Victorious One says, like the live, 137 people, 19 likes. Now it's 152, and we still only got 18 likes. If you guys could please hit the like button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. I love having these talks, but please support your girl. Y'all already ain't sending $1. Y'all already ain't sending $1. At least hit the like button. At least hit the like button. Jamal says, Chakra Love, what was your master's in, and are you going for a PhD? Education and my job paid for it. Yeah, there's a lot of if men want to do it, they can do it too. If men want to get master's degrees in education, get a job in a school. They will pay for you to get some more education. Victim says, hi haters, hit the like button. Oh, you know they're gonna be stingy with the like button. But thank you for the few people who continue to hit the like button, who started hitting the like button right now. I appreciate it. Some more you guys will go ahead and bop that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. So he said, again, Taz's first beginning argument, patriarchy is a system of misogyny. Women are largely excluded from power in a societal aspect. Right? So even though Pegasus tried to make the whole conversation, try to monopolize the conversation to be completely about, women wanting their cake and eating it too, that's essentially where it is. The like button, if you double tap the screen, that should give you, that you should be able to like it that way. Jamal says, Flora, Chakra Love, do women respect men who are teachers? Absolutely. Women love men who are teachers. You could work in the private sector, Jamal, actually. There's increasingly private, what's the other name, charter schools and stuff like that are not, they're not paying millions of dollars, but you can find a well-paying school. Oh wow, Juju, that's amazing. Honestly, I took out a decent amount of loans, but I did have a lot of money that was put towards my education as well. I got scholarships and stuff. It still wasn't enough to cover everything, though. College is expensive because when you're in school, you can't necessarily get a full-time job. The people who I knew who had full-time jobs, while they were in college, they weren't doing that well in school. Some of them were, but some of them weren't doing that great. They were getting decent grades. They were getting decent amount of, you know what I'm saying? That's why after my first year and a half in school, I told myself, my mom literally said, you don't have the energy to go to school if you're doing full-time, CNA work. Excuse me. When I first went back to school after leaving the first time, 2016, I was working as a CNA while I was taking full-time classes. You think them CNA schools understood, or CNA jobs understood that? When I said I was going to be a nurse, they literally told me, oh, you can bring your homework and stuff, and you can, while you're on breaks, or, after the residents go to bed, you can work on your homework. You know how many white nurses hated on me when I did that, but they would let other people do that? That's not the type of job you can do full-time while you're in school. I had to dedicate my time to school. It wasn't even feasible for me to do that. Yeah, they do, Juju. They do. But it's really hard, like, it's hard to be in school full time and do well in school, and do well at it's hard to be at working full time and do well in school. It is hard. You're balancing sleep, the time that you're at work, other kids are in the library. You know what I mean? So it's like there's almost an imbalance where the kids who are going to work after class, they don't have nearly as much time to study as the ones who go straight to the library after class. Yeah, it's not easy, but you can do it. Push yourself. It's worth it. Yeah, I don't want to be a nurse anymore. That was definitely before. That was definitely before. I don't have any interest in nursing school or anything like that. But that was before. I'm getting a master's, and then I might go for some more schooling. I'm still trying to figure out, honestly, the path I want to go in. It's really hard when you have a lot of interests to actually choose one. The only online RN classes are for RNs that have an associates to get the BSN. You cannot become an RN with just online classes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't want to be a nurse anymore, so I'm not interested. But I definitely know there's a lot of programs now to become an RN a little bit faster. Um, you have to do online and in person. Yeah, all clinicals have to be in person, but there is online school now for even nursing. The next thing that he talked about, because Taz sort of had a bunch of resources, so it wasn't just like him making a bunch of points that were unsubstantiated. He had research, but he did make a list of 10 toxic feminist traits. And in that list, he talked about several things that women do that would be considered toxic today. But one distinction that he made specifically was equity versus equality. So they seem to have a really tough time. And when I say they, I'm talking about Fatty's chat. They seem to have a tough time with defining equity versus equality. So I'm going to define this for you guys for the slow bandits, just so you guys can have a little bit of a, okay? You see, Oxford Languages, equity, the quality of being fair and impartial, right? So fairness, fair-mindedness, justice, equitableness, fair play, right? So this doesn't necessarily mean that men and women are going to be completely on the same planes, but equity means being fair and impartial. I don't know if they know how to define any of these things, but that's what equity means. One thing about Taz, even though I used to can't stand him, he always has resources, right? Whether you like him or not, he shows resource whether you like him or not. Exactly. Nursing is a tough field. I admire them so much. Yeah, I admire nurses too, because it takes dedication to work under them chauvinistic ass doctors. That's all. I'm like, we're gonna leave that alone. But them doctors are definitely assholes. And I, as somebody who's worked in medicine, I truly know how trashy it is that those doctors act. And a lot of time it's men. I know it's a lot of time it's men. Even the male nurses are entitled. You should see how entitled the male CNAs were. They said Taz was prepared. I like that a lot. Right. And Fatty wasn't prepared because he assumed that he was just going to be debating a slow person like all those people in the space. All right. So equality. The state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. And ignore an organization aiming to promote racial equality. Again, fairness, justness, equitability, impartiality, even-handedness. Right? Even-handedness, even mentioning like, hey, we're both going to put in as much work. So equality is more talking about men and women doing the same things. Equity is about being fair, right? Bringing things up to a fairness level. So I think they were having a tough time with that definition. And this is where, like, I think the conversation started to go left and right and then left and right again. But they said this is more important, and equality is more so having the same role as men. That seems to be what they were describing. Hey, Lana Love. Juju, I tapped out because she loves the man to death, and he's holding her back. She's so smart and talented. Who are y'all talking about? Okay. I can't really tell because I'm trying to read the comments. Jamal says both male and female doctors have inflated egos, Flora. I know how they behave with other subs. Some can be very rude and disrespectful. I feel for some of the nurses. Yeah, and some of the nurses are assholes because of doctors as well. You know, a lot of those nurses have turned into like meanies. Like they eat their young. That's not a fake statement. A lot of them nurses are very, very rude. Very, very rude. I'm an abortist with a small business hiring. Okay. Good for you, Sean Little. But those were like the major points that I took away before I got knocked out of the debate because I still listened to it, but it was just like it kept devolving. So I want to play a part once I was gone because they try to say that I was being annoying, this, that, and the third, but I really just tried to correct what was being said. So let me play some of it.
To pick and choose where they want to succeed. You got this. Go ahead.
Okay, if you could share my screen.
Yes, sir.
So again, once we remove the dating paradigm, I think my point will become perfectly clear. Again, I'm not talking about washing dishes. I'm talking about girls who are not able to get a proper education because the patriarchy in the country they live in has established that. Girls who typically only spend 2 to 4 years in school. Now, again, I'm not here to just talk about a boyfriend, girlfriend type of situation. This isn't that for me. I'm talking about what actually benefits girls and women across the world.
And so you guys will notice this is the beginning of the debate. The conversation is which is worse for women, feminism or patriarchy. There's no distinctions in that made for a country. We're not told, oh, just the Western world, oh, just America, just Portugal, just Brazil, whatever it is. We're talking about feminism versus patriarchy in general. And for some reason, every time we talk about, every time that we talk about which is better, they always want to stick here, right? Because they truly believe that in America, in the West Coast, that women are just so free. And they know that the women in those other countries that they don't want to message because he kept saying, why are you mentioning India? Why are you mentioning FGM in Africa? Why are you mentioning all these things? Those are all women who suffer. Women in these other countries, in India, in Africa being a continent, in Afghanistan, they all talk about feminism. They all talk about it. India, Afghanistan, those countries, they talk about being held back from society, right? That's why they have feminism. I believe those countries actually utilize more of the ideology of like first wave feminists and things like that who are talking about, hey, we want equality. We want access. It doesn't matter if India has a female president. There are still honor deletions. Right? That was one of the things that he brought up, and they're like, well, why are we talking about all these third world countries for? We're talking about the world. Patriarchy isn't exclusive to the West Coast. Patriarchy is a global thing, so why can't we mention everything? Right? Because in America, a lot of time, America is used as a framework for the rest of the world. Right? The West Coast is used as a the West Coast. The Western world is used as a framework for the rest of the world. Right? So they look here and they're like, look at what can happen when women get education. They're the most homeowners. They're the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. Right? Because women are way more homeowners today than men. Why did we think that Fatty would want to be serious about this topic? I didn't think he did, but I actually thought that he was going to at least try some. But that wasn't the intention at all. Every time the conversation was brought up about women across the world who need feminism, and even with the little bit of feminism that they have, they're not able to truly live in a life where they get educated and things like that. We're talking about the world. They want feminism to be a Western problem. It's not. It's a global issue. It's feminism versus patriarchy is a global issue. Men want control all over the world, and these other nations that have subjugated women are perfect examples of what happened when you allow that. If women didn't fight for the rights that they do have, imagine where they would be today. They act like men just gave women these rights in America. Women had to fight for them. Men did get tired of seeing their daughters and sisters and aunts and mothers being subjugated and kicked out of society. Women had to fight for that. Men didn't just decide one day, and even then, men still have to fight other men who don't want that. Look at some of these comments, though. Equality has always been the problem. They want to dominate and control. Women want to dominate and control. Look at the dust mite who said that. Stop complaining and try harder. Stay in America, India. Oh my God. Mind you, this is a woman. This is a woman. This is why I say they keep mammies on the payroll. This is a woman saying, why are you mentioning India? Why are you mentioning India? The women in India would tell you why they need to be mentioned in these conversations about feminism and patriarchy. They would tell you why. Those women would tell you why. They're still women. Whether they're on the West, in the Western world or not, they're still women. And they suffer in a patriarchal system. But that's why they don't want to talk about these other nations, because if they really understood what these other nations go through, of course they don't want us talking about them. Victorious One says, men relevance is waning. Women have given... women, when given the opportunity, far exceed expectations. Exactly. That's what these other nations don't want to do. Right? That's why Africa has their foot on women's neck. Because if women get educated and they start trying to bring them up a little bit and give them access, they know that women are going to succeed. Africa used to be a matriarch for the most part. They're not going to tell you that. But do you know how many kingdoms were led by women in Africa? That's why Africa is doing that's why Africa looks the way it does. Women have always led Africa. As soon as that changed, look at the outcomes of Africa. And it's funny because Cynthia G was live yesterday, and when she was trying to have the conversation about, men and women and stuff like that, some women started going up there and talking about back in the days, and it was just ridiculous. They wanted to bring the conversation actually to Africa, pre-colonialism and all this, and how some black people who are here and even it was just so weird. Lana Love says, I'm friends with a family from Nepal. They aren't trying to go back for more than a visit. Exactly. Because the women know they're not going to get what they get in those countries, what they're going to get here. So that's why in some ways, right, men are right. In 2024, women have way more rights than other women. Not than men. You still can't say that women have more rights than men. The wage gap, which right now is about 75 cents to the dollar of a man, that still exists. Even in a place where women are getting the education, they're doing the same type of jobs as men. Even in a place like that, we're ending up still getting paid a lot less than men, especially in the corporate world. I was listening to that live. Yeah. 54 countries in Africa, Lovey, all different cultures and customs. Okay. And what does that mean? It's still a patriarchy. You can't go to Africa and point to a country that is a matriarch right now. Go ahead. Show me a matriarchal. Pretend this is Africa right here. Point to the matriarchal society and government in Africa right now. Or name one in the chat. Africa, pre-colonialism, was it matriarchal? Wrong. Do your research. Wrong. Do your research. If you do the research, you will see they had kingdoms led by women. Go ahead, go look it up. The country I come from had kingdoms led by women who were betrayed as soon as the men betrayed them. right? As soon as the men betrayed Angolan women, look at the condition of Angola today. Right after men betrayed the women in Angola, you know what happened? You know what happened? Slavery. Sold out their own. And Queen, if you look up Queen Nzinga's story, she was sold out by her own sibling. Her own sibling didn't like that when the colonizers and things like that came to their nation, they had more respect for the women who had dominance and power. AM said no one cares. Okay, so go home then. You don't have to be here. Victorious one said single child free is the best place to be for women. Right, because this is the world that we live in. You're right, I am wrong. That's like a closet door, not a wall. That is a closet door, though. How about you read the whole comment, dumbass? How about you kiss my ass, dumbass? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Kinetic Customs and Racing. Are you really that stupid? You guys get paid $75, so of course they're going to save 20. Okay, I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. I would say women, generally speaking, are better at making sacrifices to own homes and businesses. Well, if women are better with their money, just say that. Cam says, you know what happened? Point to the wall. Dog, we are not in that room with you. I'm just saying, show me a country in Africa, right? Show me a country in Africa that's being led right now by matriarchal government or whatever. Because I heard some dust might say that in the chat. Make sure you guys hit the like button too. Gender pay gap is debunked so many times. Try something different. It's not, though. It's not. A man saying that's not true is not debunking it. Go look at any Fortune 500 company. Look at the male salary versus the female salary. I don't know what we're talking about. Somebody said Tanzania and Ethiopia. Wrong. I want to be rich. Me too. What were you saying about Queen Bazinga? Who's Queen Bazinga? It's Queen Nzinga. Look her up. Women, attach your life to goals and achievements, not a man. You will always elevate with education and goal setting. Well, that's what they hate, Victorious One, right? That's why I think, honestly, some of these guys are just dumb. Intellectually speaking, I feel like these two aren't, they weren't a good match because one has a brain and one doesn't. Exactly, Lana Love. They don't even have an imagination. Use your imagination. Pretend this wall is Africa. Show me a country, show me a place that's being led by women that is doing well. That's doing well. Because y'all love to talk about the Tanzania, Ethiopia. Show me a place that's doing well, that women are suddenly doing well. Exclusive Reaction said, I use the Government Accountability Office to prove that point. The gender pay gap persists today. Right, but they're going to tell you it doesn't. And we're supposed to take that. That's enough. Whatever they say is just enough. Because that's a lot of the points that the points that they were trying to make is, hey, that's not true. It's been debunked. Okay, show me. Who am I going to believe? A bandit on the street or the office that actually deals with accountability and pay and the pay gap? Women can't lead. Look what Angela Merkel did to Germany. Disaster. Well, that's Germany. That doesn't really have anything to do with it. But let me play a little bit more of this because they really got upset at the fact that Taz was bringing up other countries. But again, patriarchy, feminism is not limited to the Western world. So why would we limit the conversation? They had no scholarly evidence. None. It was literally just his opinion. He got Jordan Peterson, right? A controversial figure. And then he went and got a transgender woman to speak on feminism. Only in a patriarchy is a bandit going to use a transgender woman to make a point about feminism. Only in this patriarchy, right? Because it made no sense to even use those people in general. Where are your sources? Victorious One said 46 male presidents, and look at the state of the United States. Right.
Not just simply here in the United States or in Portugal or the UK, right? We have to be honest about what the patriarchy is in countries that have a patriarchal rule. In countries like that, what you find is the rise of feminism because those women are greatly in danger. Right? For example,
I'll concede another minute, okay? Because you're good. You have one more minute. Go ahead.
how many? Okay, so just right quick, how many things I had?
No. You know you're fine. Like, as long as it's not.
And let me just say this. He rambled past the clock every time that he spoke. That's why I had to mention, isn't your time up the first time? Because he rambled past the clock. But then he wanted to be chin-checking the time on Taz. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, dude is literally trying to put the clock up. But every time he had the clock on him, it kept running out. Right? And again, notice how we're trying to have the conversation about globally what women are going through, and he literally wanted to try to cut it down to the U.S. Taz said, I didn't know that was a trans woman or I would have snapped. Well, it's hard to tell nowadays because we're all trying to be politically correct. But Lana says this wasn't a debate. It was not. It was a conversation. It was a conversation backed by very little facts on the other side. But I'm going to keep playing because I want to hear a little bit from this part.
Very extensive 2 minutes per time is simply fine. Let me bring your screen again. Because Flora said the time. I'm not concerned with the time. I'm letting you run. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I just try to keep it to 1 minute at a time. So the only point here I'm trying to make though is patriarchy in some of these other places are not defined by gender roles and social norms here in the United States. Some of what the patriarchy is in another place is a woman not even being able to keep her life, a woman having surgery at birth, a child being forced into marriage. Some of those conversations need to be held today within this conversation because, again, if you leave all of that out, you're not fully having the conversation about the patriarchy. When those women are under patriarchal rule, we don't see what we see in the United States. I can see. My time.
I think my opponent committed 2 great mistakes right now. He talked about things that happen when a kid is born. Men are circumcised every single time for the most part throughout the world when they are born, which they don't have no right or no say so. So it's not something that...
Okay, so I forgot this dumbass shit that he said here. Okay, so if they largely stopped circumcising men, you guys would have stinky ass genitals. Okay, you would stink. There's a reason that procedure is done, right? If you don't want your child to be circumcised, you don't have to. Not every parent says yes to that. But that medical procedure, right, that you're comparing to what women systemically go through, that is a medical procedure that is done for the health of the child. How do you compare that to women not being allowed to get education? Like, this was probably the dumbest point that one of the dumbest points. There was a lot of dumb points. So you're going to hear me saying that a lot. But this was probably one of the dumbest points that he made. Okay? LP, trans people have gender dysphoria. No offense to them, but that's the reality. You know, Lana, I was trying to leave that alone because at the end of the day, it just doesn't make sense for a man with a male body to talk about women's issues, right? Especially when it comes to patriarchy and how that really affects women. Like, it just doesn't have a place in this conversation. That's my problem. Victorious One says Fatty isn't that bright. He isn't, but he definitely thinks he is. Jamal, you can keep repeating that question. I just think, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to leave that one alone.
Exclusive woman is something that happens actually mostly to men. Another thing, he mentioned other countries. First of all, another big mistake. Women are more educated than men in 2024 in the whole western part of the world. And that's the first mistake. That has been fixed. If actually feminism was about equity or equality, they would be talking about we need to get these men to college more because women are disproportional going more to highly educated fields, which is actually kind of funny because that's supposed to be their goal. As soon as women got the advantage, they stopped. The last point, and I concede my time, if feminism is important on this, third world countries on this part.
Y'all see the clock? Because the clock is done. But he's going to continue to talk, right? And again, what? First of all, how do you tell somebody you're wrong? You can't say that in a debate. There is nowhere in the conversation where it says who is worse for feminism or patriarchy, which is worse for women, feminism or patriarchy. There's nowhere in that says in America. Where does it say in America, in the Western world? We're talking about the broad issue. And the reason why they don't want to bring these other conversations on is because they know the answer is going to be feminism. All those countries that he brought up, the answer would be feminism. So, of course, you have to exclude the places in the world where patriarchy is very detrimental to women. Right? Let's only talk about the Western world now. Let's only talk about the Western world, because if we talk about anything else, then we're just going to... Look at them. Let me just say this. One bandit is over there talking about something that he can barely write. He called me Flora. He can barely write. Talking about JP. Can't even stay on topic. And the other bandit, Flora, is definitely not taking this serious because she's chatting over on the other side while supposedly taking notes. Can you guys know how to multitask? Are you so dumb that you don't know how to multitask? What's going on, young Riaz? LP, they are free to do what they want with their bodies, but we have to be real here, right? Don't waste your time. Victorious one said this focus is always on because they're trying to talk shit in the chat. LP is just coming here to cry about, lady boys. LP, they are free to do what they want with their... Oh, Victorious one, I was trying to read her comment. She said the focus is always on women, never on men working to be better. Right. Now, we're even told that women should be the ones advocating for men to get education. Women advocate for each other to get education. That's the whole point of feminism. But we're supposed to be doing the work for men. So okay. So we need feminism to encourage each other to get education, right? To encourage women to actually utilize everything that they have, get education, be independent, things like that. But we're also supposed to be encouraging men to get education. Men don't have to encourage each other to get education. Women are supposed to do that. Dunk said, technically the answer is nuanced. Patriarchal system works when the leader isn't a tyrant. There's so many people who would disagree with you on that. Because who's going to determine what is tyrannical? If you include places where women can't come outside, I don't think anyone disagrees with you. Everyone thinks that those countries are crazy. But there was like 6 or 7 countries. Because China is a well-advanced country. It's extremely patriarchal as well. We're not just talking about third world countries. We're talking about other nations that are successful. And they have patriarchies as well. Everyone understands that when it comes to honor deletions and things like that, yes, we're going to say that feminism is better. But that isn't the only issue that other countries that are run by patriarchy have. So why are we excluding those other countries? And again, I'm going to play it because he's going to go way past his minutes. But then keep trying to chin-check the time. You keep saying education, but most colleges make students more woke stupid. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. You know how many right-wing students there are? Are you guys dumb? Do you know how many right-wing students that there are? I had a professor who actually ended up getting kicked out of the university because of how many students complained about what he said. And they were right-wing students. There are plenty of PWIs that are not woke at all. Woke means you care about society. In some ways, I feel like they also will say that woke is something else as well. They'll call it something else. But let me keep playing. I want to listen to a little bit more of this part.
Parts of the world that are damaged. Are you admitting, Taz, that feminism is irrelevant to the United States and the rest of the West? Because that's what actually always sounded. Are you admitting that the rest of the West actually gets no feminism anymore because women are in college, women have official job, women are the presidents and all that, and family should be something that will be relegated to the Western
Yeah, Younger,
hemisphere or
yes.
to these
Yeah, Dubai is.
countries that don't have such say. So the shadow realm will open after TAZ.
And this is what I say these bandits. Again, talking about something completely unrelated to the conversation because these people are dunces. Slow. Very slow. They're not even paying attention to what is being said.
Responds to my questions.
So I'm not sure what you're asking, right? I'm not completely sure because when we start talking about a patriarchy, we're talking about a system that places the men and boys above the women. We're not talking about boyfriend girlfriend dynamics in those types of conversations. I don't think we're truly having a conversation about the effect of the patriarchy on young men or young women, which is, what I came to debate. So I don't really know what you're asking and how that's relevant to patriarchy. You're framing feminism under a questionable light, in my opinion.
So feminism is the biggest religion on the planet right now, by far. I have a show on Sunday called Late.
Feminism is the biggest religion on the planet so far. Now, here's my problem. How many more things is he going to be able to say without any evidence? How much more is he going to be able to spout without any evidence? How is feminism a religion? Jamal said in most cultures, women are appreciated. In most cultures, women are expected to play a role. It's not about appreciate. When you expect women, when you pigeonhole women into a role, that's not appreciation because they're doing what you want them to do. That's not appreciation. Can y'all hit the like button for me? Hit the like button.
First, and women from all countries, from Africa, from all continents, from Africa, from South America, from Asia, come here, and they do the same thing as the woman on the Western we complain about. What I'm asking you is, if you brought kind of like newspapers and all that of these horrors happening in India and all these developing countries, are you saying that families is still needed in the West, on the United States, where most of y'all are living? Do you think like these levels of not combating, but this level of militance should be adapted to the West, or we should leave it alone, grab our things, and go to these countries to actually humanize them and make women have the same rights that they have here?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a man, right? So you're asking me about the spread of feminism.
And let me just say, because this is why I enjoyed Taz saying this is not a basically this is not a DMP conversation, right? We're not talking about relationships and lovey-dovey. We're talking about what actually women have access to. Because somebody asked me in the chat, so men shouldn't pay first date anymore then, just so I know in the future. Most of y'all don't have first date money anyways. Let's be real. Most of y'all don't have first date money to begin with. Most of y'all are begging women to meet you at coffee shops so you don't have to pay for dinner. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Y'all always have to divert back to relationship BS when we're talking about education, wages, access to healthcare treatment, access to abortion, all of that. Every time we talk about that, you guys have to bring your bussies out and start talking about relationships, DMP, holding the door open. And this is why I said chauvinism in these conversations. That's why I said chauvinism, because most of the shit that you guys think that we need men for are irrelevant. Irrelevant. Most women don't need you to take them out to dinner. Most of these women don't want to go nowhere with you guys. Let's be real. Most of these women don't even want to go on dates with you guys at all. Y'all talking about paying for dates. How many of you niggas show up to dates and expect women to split the bill with you? What are we talking about? Education, wages, healthcare, access to reproductive freedom, learn to listen to understand. But they're already here with an agenda. They're not really trying to listen. Homeboy came in here and started talking about dates. Irreverent gentleman. Why do you care to be a gentleman? Okay, so why do women don't want to be in the draft yet blame women for not being in combat roles? Whose fault is it that women aren't drafted? Because last I checked, those men who made you have to be drafted don't want their daughters and wives and sisters to be drafted. That's a patriarchal idea as well. So why are you mad at me and not the men who tell you we want you bastards to go to war, but we don't want our daughters and sisters to go to war? Right? This is where the conversation always got difficult, because then he asked them, you don't have no, what is let me look it up real quick, because he brought this up and it was a good point. Right? What is patriarchy in the first place? We're gonna look this up for you bandits who are in here talking about dates. A system of government in which the father or eldest male is the head of the family and descent is traced through the male line. A system of society or government in which men hold power and women are largely excluded from it. A society or community organized on patriarchal lines. Right? On patriarchal lines, meaning it goes through the males. That's what it is. Why would you be in a patriarchy asking why women aren't combating? Ask the men who created the system that said everything is going to go through the eldest male and the father. Ask them why they don't want their daughters and their wives and their sisters to go to combat. Because again, this is a system where men hold the power. So ask the men. You're asking women to control a male system. I don't get that. Where in this patriarchal system does it say that women can choose women can choose to go against the systems in place that men have? Where does it say that? Irreverent gentleman says feminist groups fought against women joining the draft. Tell me where to look that up and we can talk. Because a lot of the times you guys will just say stuff. You guys will blame Antifa, all these other organizations, instead of just say stuff. Men created the system. Exactly, Victorious. They're mad at women, but you dust mites are the one who created this system. Men are the one who wanted it this way. Go ask the men in power why they don't want their sisters, their wives, their aunts, their whoever, the women, the matriarchs in their family. Why do they not want those women at war? Could it be perhaps because a woman's body needs to be preserved to bring you dust mites into the world? Could that be why? Right? We know that really is the function. Of course they don't want women out there battling. Women have to birth you ugly ass niggas. And they can't birth you ugly ass niggas if they're getting shot up. That is the whole point here. That's why they don't want women in combat. But you guys claim to, patriarchy this, patriarchy that. Most of these feminists are not fighting against women being more involved in society. Most of them are not. Most of them are fighting for women to be just as ingrained in things as men. But again, a patriarchal system doesn't allow for women to be part of it. It doesn't allow for women to come in and make choices and decide, hey, we're all going to go to combat. Like I mentioned, it wasn't until, 2015, 2016, that they even on the books allowed women to be in combat roles. But like somebody mentioned yesterday, there was already women in combat roles. On the books, though, no, there wasn't. I'd rather be masculine according to Islam, not Western society. You know, I think all the religion comes down to the same thing, though, unfortunately. Someone said, you're an idiot, read a book. Okay, so tell me what you've read for a book and how it goes against what I'm saying. Oh my God, this lady is so confused. I remember being that young and not knowing nothing about the world. Okay, so tell me what I don't know about the world. How boys reading at a 3rd grade level, who's teaching those boys? You know that it's not just boys who can't read, right? You know that the low literacy rates isn't just boys, it's young people in general. There will never be a female Navy SEAL. Do you know why? I don't know what y'all are talking about. Even tampons were invented by a man, Earl Haas. And you know how toxic the materials of tampons used to be? You guys talked about birth control. He said yesterday, men created birth control. Do you know how detrimental birth control is to a female body? Flora, what is the better alternative to patriarchy? You guys asked in this conversation, right? The conversation in this was supposed to be, wrong email, wrong tab. What is worse for women? Feminism or patriarchy? Saying who is worse for women is not even the right way to write the sentence. But what is worse for women? Feminism or patriarchy? That's the conversation that we're supposed to be having here. Birth control is pretty bad for you. She's right about that, bro. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's extremely bad for you. It's extremely bad for you. You can ask women the symptoms that they have when they take birth control. Depo-Vera, actually, which is one of the most harmful birth control for women. Depo-Vera is literally being linked to cancer, fertility issues, growth in the uterus. You said you have the choice to take it or not to take it. But if that's the alternative, if women don't want to get pregnant, they need birth control. So really, do they really have a choice? If they don't want to get pregnant, if they'd like to get an education, blood clots, yep. So are you against abortion? Well, that's not relevant, okay? We're not going to try and make that men get vasectomies or keep quiet. Right, they have options too. Right, because at one point he said, in this conversation, he said, well, men don't get to choose not to be parents. Yes, you can. Get a vasectomy. Actually, I wish Taz would have knew that this nigga said that he snipped himself years ago. Isn't that his way of controlling whether or not he gives birth? Right? Because they started making this conversation super personal at the end. Right? Trying to mention wife and things like that. Even though it didn't get out of hand. But they tried to make it personal. Dude has been got a vasectomy how many years ago? And not to say nothing, there's probably some health effects of vasectomies as well. Because he's really big. And I bet you prior to him getting the vasectomy, he wasn't that big. Roy said, y'all don't want the responsibility that comes with matriarchy. We've never even tried for you to say that. So again, just talking. Men have options to not have a seed, not the same as abortion. F-tard. Okay, that's crazy. You could also choose not to drop your seed in a bunch of women too. Jamal says, childbirth has risks also, Flora. Should women in mass stop having kids? I personally think that women shouldn't be having none of you dusty niggas babies. I'm sorry. I don't think that women should in mass be having men's babies right now. No. I don't think so. You could choose to close your legs. Women are closing their legs. Do you guys know that the rates of teenage pregnancy and abortions have literally gone down significantly since all those things became available to women? Do you guys know that? And you know, men can choose not to go in between legs if they don't want to have kids either. You need a man. Can you change your flat tire? No, I can order a service, dummy. I can order a service. There are men who call AAA to change their tires too. So what are we talking about? You know there are men who don't know how to change tires? Do we know that? I can bet you $50. Majority of the men in this chat don't know how to change a damn tire. Majority of the men in this chat are calling AAA. Irreverent gentlemen, that's your opinion, though. Men don't want the responsibility. Men, no one wants your poverty peen. Right. But we're evil for telling women don't have a bunch of babies with these men. Why would a woman have a baby right now? Good for you, Royce. I'm still gonna tell you, most of this chat probably don't know how to change a tile. Jamal says, do you understand that if bandits stop having kids, the economy and society will fail? Rich people not having enough kids, if any at all, to support the retired, for instance. Well, here's the thing, Jamal, though. At the end of the day, there's always going to be those dummies who are going to have a bunch of babies, right? There's always going to be people in this country who are having kids. But nowadays, there's not a bunch of teen pregnancies. Which means you need a man. No, I need a service. I need a service. There are women who know how to change tires too. And I bet you if they worked for AAA, they would come out to change your tire as well. It's a service. When those men come out and change your tire, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart, dummy. Elizabeth Peterson says, I'm a 6-year-old widow who knows how to change the tire and my oil. My father taught me before I got my license. Right. But let these men tell you, let these men tell it, we need a man. Who comes when you call? It's their job. Right. It's their job. The men aren't doing it out of a gentlemanly goodness. They're doing it for a check. And it's not just men. So I don't get what you guys' fixation is on tires. Jamal says the rich, competent people who can have kids choosing not to live their best life. Well, that's their choice. I think people should have a choice if they want to bring kids in the world. So many people in this world have a bunch of children that they had no business having in the first place. So I think it's people's choice. Kind of funny how I pop into the comment when you said men don't know how to change a tire when I'm a mechanic. Well, that's your job. Again, you're getting paid, Marcus. You're getting paid. That's not true, though, Marcus. Not every woman needs you to change their tire. And there's a lot of men who are also going to call you to change. You're a mechanic and you work in what do you call it? Like a car shop or something. You're telling me men don't come into those car shops? It's just women who you service their vehicles? It's just women who service their vehicles at your mechanic shop? Men run society. We don't complain about life like you are during. Well, no, women are complaining about the rights that are being taken away because they're women. Again. Wow. This is what I'm talking about. This bandit said Bubblehead hasn't gotten laid correctly. Do you guys really think that your pathetic little peens are helping anybody? Therapy? You guys' pathetic little peens are therapy to who? You don't have money to pay for the service. Plenty of women have money to pay for a service. I have had a AAA membership for 4 years. So what are we talking about? And there are men who have AAA as well. My mother taught me better than that. I help women all the time out of respect and love. Most of you ninjas are not just changing random tires of women. That's not happening. Needing a man, pay a man for service, name me an all-female roadside service company. I'll wait. Who cares? Is that the only thing y'all got is roadside service? I change men's tires too, but tell you what, I get pissed when people don't take care of their cars. Okay, what does that have to do with men? She sounds so uninformed and so educated. So educate me then, bandit. She had her father, which is why she understands she doesn't necessarily need a husband to do it. Right. Women, children become your responsibility. Men bounce. I'm all behind in the chat. Roy says, y'all don't treat men with common decency. That has a lot to do with chivalry not being like it used to be. What is treating men with common decency? Because last time I checked, you guys will catcall women all day, all night, and they'll still be polite to you and be attacked. So I don't know what we're talking about. It never occurs to y'all to treat men with common decency. Who is going around being mean to men? Like it's very y'all are having emotional arguments in the chat. Why are you men connecting getting rid of the patriarchal system like it's getting rid of men? Is the system and men the same thing? No, it's not. She's on EBT. She's on EBT. I wish. Does somebody got some EBT to sell? I'll take some of it. I'll take $50. I'll give you $50 for $100 worth of food stamps. But let's hear a little bit more of this because you guys are just chatting in the chat. You're not really saying much. If women are so good at things without men, then how come y'all can't raise a proper man? What?
Feminism, which is somewhat irrelevant. 'Cause I don't care if feminism spread or not. That's not necessarily what I'm here to debate, if it should or shouldn't spread. I'm here to debate if it's better for women to follow that or support a patriarchy that is harmful to them and young men as well. So I don't think you're answering the original debate topic. Like you're off topic.
It's because you are once you bring things from that side of the world, and once you actually talking about education, for example, I have to understand where do you want feminism to be implemented in mass or actually to be pushed on, right?
It's not about implementation in mass. It's already happening in mass because the patriarchy is in mass.
But the patriarchy is the default system. And it works pretty well.
Which is how feminism came about.
Yes.
Feminism is part of the patriarchy.
Okay, so do you concede that women right now have more rights than men on the West?
No, I don't.
Okay, tell me one right that the men have over women.
A right over her?
Yes,
I would say women have no rights over men and men have no rights over women.
Oh, yes.
That would be my argument.
No, yes, they do. My body, my choice. They even if we have the same rights, they have less.
What does that have to do with me?
It means that a woman can opt out of being a mother before the baby is born and after the baby is born by leaving to the firefighters, but the man will never have the chance to do it. If somebody puts me on child support, I have to take responsibility for the kid or I'm going to pay the price. There's one right that men don't have. Woman can opt out of motherhood. Men don't.
Right, so now are you asking for equity?
No. I'm stating
well, you have to be because you can't carry a baby.
No, I'm
stating equal, right?
No, I'm stating
equal to her.
I'm stating a fact. I'm not fighting for nothing.
I'm
telling you there's one right that woman have over man. Give me one right that man have over woman.
You're claiming it's a right over you. It's not if a woman carries a child for 9 months. How is that a right over you?
Because, for example, if she births the kid, she can grab the kid, go to the firefighter station and says, hey, I'm not ready to be a mom, please take care of the kid. No man can just say, I don't want to be a dad, I'm not ready, so I'm going to move along. That man, the woman is going to go to court, the judge is going to say, this man is the father. He's saying, no, Mr. Judge, I don't want to pay child support because I'm not ready. And they will say, no, sir, this is your obligation. You cannot opt out of fatherhood.
That's what I understand, right? So what you're leaving out then is that the patriarchy set those laws up. Those laws didn't come, women didn't establish those laws. Men
irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Men established those laws. The patriarchy made the law.
So it actually goes against your point. Patriarchy actually helps.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Patriarchy is good
for a woman. I disagree. I disagree.
Patriarchy is good for a woman. If feminists actually were real, they would say we need equality. Men should have the right to opt out of fatherhood just like women do. But they don't. They don't want that.
You can opt out of fatherhood if you want to. You have to pay child support.
Okay, that was I wish he would have said you could you opted out of childhood when you snipped yourself, right? Because he always talks about I didn't want a kid, so I got a vasectomy. So how are you going to say that men can't opt out of fatherhood when you have a vasectomy and you claim that's the only reason why you don't have a kid today? Because women try to put babies on you and you know what I'm saying, get you to impregnate them. He has a vasectomy. So how is it that men can't control their ability to become fathers? They could also, like somebody said in the chat, we have a lot of misogyny in the chat today. I think the topic really upset people. There's a bandit in here telling me to read a Bible, telling me to grow up. Someone said I'm ugly and that's why I have this opinion and all this dummy stuff. This is stupid. Jamal says, Flora, Lucky asked an excellent question at the debate. Question, does feminism prioritize family or does it prioritize women as an individual? I don't know that that's an excellent question, because I feel like that's just dumb, right? Because, and again, I'm not trying to call necessarily her dumb just because of the question. I think it's kind of silly, because at the end of the day, a woman is a part of a family, right? She will be part of that. But why can't she prioritize herself and also prioritize family? Right? The belief is just that women are supposed to throw themselves in the fire for the betterment of the family, but men don't do that. Right, Robin? I'm trying to say it was a dumb question without saying it was a dumb question. But it's always they're always telling women to sacrifice themselves, their body, their livelihood for family. It's as if the responsibility of family is exclusively on women. Is it exclusively on men? On women? Why doesn't patriarchy prioritize the family? Robin says feminism has nothing to even do with family or motherhood. It's about the rights and equality for women. Right. It's about rights for women. But every time we talk about women, it's like they want to make it synonymous with family. We can't talk about women without family, but men can be whoever they want to be. They don't have to worry about family, fatherhood, none of that. Right? Cynthia actually mentioned in her live earlier that day about how some men in this space were talking about financial abortion. Right? Saying that they don't want to be financially responsible for kids that they created. Right? You guys do know that it wasn't until the last 70 years that women got the right to vote, right? I know right now it's Trump time, so we got a lot of bandits and bandits of all colors. And I call you guys bandits because the points that you guys make about feminism aren't real. You guys aren't speaking based on facts. Lana says the delusion is strong. But it's not an excellent question, because why is womanhood synonymous with family, but males and patriarchy is not? Right? On the one hand, he wants to talk about patriarchy, but then he's gonna say, "Well, why can't I opt out of fatherhood the way women can?" You can, and you have. You have a vasectomy, so you already opted out of fatherhood. You're not gonna be a parent while you have a vasectomy. And I'm bringing that up because his life is a contradiction of the point that he's trying to make. Okay, I'm trying to read some of these comments, but some of y'all just talking out your ass. Like, you got people in here talking about, you just need some sex. You guys are not putting it down like that in the first place. So I don't know why that's the conversation that you all always go to.
Tell that to the judge.
You have to pay child support in the system that was set up for the men in a patriarchy.
So if the
women fought to get those rights in court. Women didn't always have the right to.
Wrong. Someone says men aren't allowed to have that procedure if they don't have children. Wrong. Wrong. Men are supposed to sacrifice everything for their families according to the Bible, but the patriarchal system makes women and family lower than men. It makes them lower than men, but it also tries to make it tries to make women and family synonymous, right? Women can't separate themselves from family in any way, shape, or form. They can't seek anything outside of family. If they do, then they're terrible, horrible, mean, big, bad, mean feminists. If women seek out anything that's not related to family, they're big, bad, mean feminists. Of course, y'all family members expect things from y'all. Of course, your man expects from y'all. Y'all are against family. That's not true at all. You guys are so... The fact... I'm not deleting comments because I really love to see how stupid some of you guys are. First of all, you have men trying to attack my looks in the chat. Men try to tell me that sex is a somehow a medicine for the women's issues. This is how slow and remedial majority of you guys are. You show your remedial brains every time we have discussions like this. Last Shepherd said, Flora, calm down. I am calm. I just think, like, you guys are just saying crazy things. Like, I've never seen so many men try to act like their peens are a solution. And I'm about to start taking some of you men's wrenches, because you should not be allowing a message that is literally making an insult. You're not supposed to be sharing that message. You're not supposed to be. Because if they were insulting or saying egregious stuff about you all, I would be deleting it. But y'all are in here not even using your mod wrenches. So I'm going to actually, and I know you saw that, and I know it was probably you. So Royce, you can go and you could join the rest of the Dusties back up here, because y'all are in here literally okaying messages where people are talking shit. That we're not supposed to be doing. If it's held back and you see that it's talking shit, you should be deleting it. Victor says, Flora, are you a feminist? Long conversation. Victorious, I'm going to give you a chat. I'm sorry. Jamal, there is no way to measure who works harder. The bottom line is they both hold the job title and the same credential. They should not be paid differently. Right. You don't like open dialogue. I love open dialogue, but if someone is in the chat talking shit, they should be deleted. You should not be allowing a message where somebody's literally talking shit and is not even making a point in the argument at all. Like, that's ridiculous. Keyword, she said Dusties. That should tell you dudes everything. Kiara, please. Are you in here swinging your mammy bussy around? These mammies are ridiculous. You're only arguing against the dipshits' comments on things that are clearly intended to get you riled up. That's not true at all, because I've actually read majority of the comments where you guys are trying to make points about chivalry and stuff like that. So, I mean, it really don't make too much sense. I know somebody right now is abusing their wrench, because all of these comments where people are talking shit, people are approving them. So that's why I had to take some wrenches away. Yeah, Victorious, those mammies can't have real vaginas. They have to be, they really have to have bussies, because the way some of these women come in here windmilling for men, I'm gonna just leave it be. I'd like to know where I was wrong, lied, or misrepresented something in this debate. You didn't, but again, people are gonna automatically assume that I'm being biased in that. But the points that are being made, they were ridiculous. Flora, would chivalry be a good thing or a bad thing for women? I don't think that chivalry exists enough today for us to even have that discussion. You know, most men don't even have the money to be chivalrous or anything like that. You were correct in your research, right? Because the problem, Taz, is that you came into the debate looking to debate somebody who was looking to have a conversation based off of IG posts and TikToks. That's really the issue. When you come into a conversation with somebody who has no interest in using any real information, and they just want to back their talking points with nothing, this is the type of conversation you're going to have. So there was no lies. It was just like, if you said something that they disagreed with, like, for example, he kept telling you, don't go to other countries. Right, because the patriarchy in those other countries are very clearly not beneficial to women. So why would they allow you to talk about other countries if it's going to prove your point? Right? So I don't think there was lies. I think they didn't want certain things to be included in the discussion because it would automatically, destroy their arguments. Judith said Fatty is clearly out of his league here. I didn't see him in that chat. Yeah, he's always out of his league when he debates someone who actually has a brain. Jamal says, Flora, many females I know believe because they have a master's or PhD that they should automatically be well paid without having to negotiate. Make that make sense? I don't agree. I think a lot of women know that you have to negotiate your salary. But again, women with PhDs are still making less than men with PhDs a lot of times. And I know that because I know a lot of professors who were not paid the same way as their peers. And the reasons that they were given weren't really, they didn't make a lot of sense. Hey, Bree Nicole, I saw that debate and Taz won, in my opinion. We all know that, Bree Nicole, but you know, a lot of times, first of all, I got excluded as a moderator because literally I was the only person pushing back against anything that was being said, right? He outright said women don't work overtime. Women don't work overnight shifts, which are two blatant lies. And then he tried to say, well, I wasn't saying every woman, every. First of all, most women don't get to choose what kind of shifts that they work. Most women don't get to choose what kind of shifts they work. They go to the job and they meet the need of the establishment. I don't necessarily, Nightwolf, I don't necessarily think that it needs money, but I think men don't know how to express any of these things that would be considered chivalrous without money. Right? They don't know how to woo a girl or take her on a date or do something romantic without money. For a lot of these men, it is money that is needed for them to express whatever chivalry they think. Royce, okay, so tell me what you would do for a woman that's chivalrous, that don't cost $1. That's for a lot of men. It is. So I fast forwarded a little bit because I was getting tired of like him just talking out of his ass, and I wanted to hear a little bit more of the debate. So let's get into it a little bit more. Bussies, please try not to be too triggered in the chat. Hit the like button. I see a lot of you guys are here watching, but you're not, you're not hitting the like button. Kiara says, if a man opens the door for you, do you say thank you? No shit. You're no shit. But again, you're probably one of those women who believes that if men aren't chivalrous towards women, it's because the woman is mean, right? We didn't smile enough. I hear that from so many mammies. Oh, if women don't, these women today are so mean. Mammy mutilator. Y'all are weird. Let me let me play some of this part of the conversation. Yes, please hit the like button, guys. I would appreciate it.
One thing.
The gender pay gap in America.
Oh, perfect part
There's
too.
one thing.
There's a myth.
I'm
The
sorry.
gender pay gap is on average. They literally got the average salary of man and the average salary of woman, and they determined that actually men earn more than women. But that doesn't include the hours, the type of job, if they are in STEM, if they are on oil rigs, like it doesn't include that. So it's natural that actually men earn more than women because men occupy positions that women usually don't want to go, which is STEM and the hard working jobs like working on the oil rig that women don't want to do. Just like it's very normal that the supermodel gets way more money than a regular man that is a model because there's more money there. Like there's not a wage gap. There's simply people play for their value. So what are you talking about?
So you're telling me there's no wage gap in America?
No. The wage gap is a myth. In the West, the wage gap is a myth. Yes.
Okay.
It's on average. Yes.
Can you show me that?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Go ahead, Ashley, and I'll put a timer back in because I see the moderators are very eager to jump on the conversation. So go ahead, you got this.
You asked us to moderate them. Just saying.
Oh, no.
You said that, and you said we're not doing that.
Hey, there's a reason why I invited this type of panel. Okay, I'm very aware of what's going on here. So tell me, go ahead, Ashley, what you have to say.
So how long?
What'd you say?
I just wanted you to Google those facts because you're talking about oil rigs and things, but we're talking about basics. If we're looking at a banker, a male and a female,
Okay.
I want you to be able to Google that. You're talking about certain jobs, but I want you to like point
Okay,
blank, banker.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I am going to pull one video that explains this. I'm going to stop the clock.
A video by who?
Yeah.
Wait,
What do you want one of the most brilliant minds, let's say Jordan Peterson, or you want me to bring like a low level?
Okay, how are we having an intellectual debate And your resource is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson. Thank you so much, Miss Bree Nicole, for sharing all of that. I'm going to pin it to the top. Please make sure you guys do hit the like button. You know, drop a super chat or a cash app. I know you guys are stingy as heck. It's the holiday time. Y'all got bills to pay. But please feel free to hit the like button. Send the cash app if you want me to read a message. Or hit the super chat. Because I'm really about to stop reading the chat, because I feel like some of you guys want the interaction with women. Unfortunately, I can't be your interaction with women. Y'all don't care about the facts of the situation. Y'all just spew man hate. Royce, you need to get your bussy off of whatever chair you're sitting on and go build. Stop complaining about what women are telling you or what they're saying. Young Ria said, Flora, this is the first time I caught your live stream. Yeah, I'm not usually live during the day. You don't know Jordan Peterson. Wow, you look so dumb with the BS. Don't send her shit. She can't even address facts. Okay, Dino, are you mad? Are you mad? So Dino is a source then, not Dino. Jordan Peterson is a resource then. His videos are a resource. Well, who has to read data then? If you can just pull up a video from a doctor, and that could be your, from a very controversial doctor, by the way, and that could be your evidence, who needs to read for themselves? That's not what he used though, Dino. Where was a book used? I don't hate men. I don't like the patriarchal system. Even men struggle under it. Why support something that hurts you? Government Accountability Office versus Jordan Peterson on a video. Right. Because they will rather hear the opinion of another man. They would rather just hear another man talk. There's no need for facts or any real information. Another man is going to tell them what they want to hear. Let's go ahead.
I can.
No, you need to like source up in a way that's like actually showing something.
Respectfully, you source the wage gap. Since we're going to play this game, I'm going to play a video. If you want to listen, you can listen. If not, you are going to pull the wage gap that actually proves that women are disproportionately having the same jobs, but they don't have the money. You prove it, right? So here you go. Damn, it was muted.
Yeah, there's a mother gap. There's other reasons too, but women really take a hit when they become mothers. Okay, that's unfair. Fair enough, man. What the hell are you going to do about it?
It's not just that, though, right? And this is what also, I'm sorry to interrupt you here,
No,
but
that's
this is what's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, but I kind of lost track of it. The misrepresentation of you mirrors misrepresentation of the gender pay gap, because it's a convenient misrepresentation that upon further inspection and understanding, you realize there is no gender pay gap.
I will scroll down one more, random.
Another contemporary economic myth is that women make 75 cents for every dollar men make because they're discriminated against in the labor market. Like other myths, this does have a kernel of truth to it. So for example, if you add up all the incomes of women and divide by the number of women in the labor force, and then do the same thing for men, what you'll find is on average, women do make about 75% of what men do. What's happening here is not discrimination in the labor market, but differences in the choices that men and women make about investing in their knowledge, their education, their skills, and their job experience that lead to...
Okay, so yeah, hold on, because the chat is cracking me up. Roy said, talk about some pussy. Y'all the ones was I'm not going to address that. Blackhawk says, I think Fatty believes he's an expert on America. Right, so the way that person supposedly debunked the pay gap is by saying women don't first of all, this is how we average anything, right? Women aren't the only ones who average, right? The same way that you figure out what men are making the most money is by adding everything up and dividing it, right? That's how you get an average. That's a mathematical equation. So why are they mad at the equation that proves that women make 75% on the dollar? Right? And then secondly, he says that women aren't investing in what they need to get the same pay as men. So basically saying women aren't at the level of men. They're not as smart as men, even though they're in the same roles. So she was able to get the same role as you, but you believe that she doesn't have the education or the knowledge to get the same pay? Um, Dino says the study did not factor in hours worked or jobs. You are so wrong. Okay, here's my problem, Dino. Why are some of you men working for long hours and not asking for pay? A little while ago, one of you in the chat just said women aren't learning how to negotiate for the pay that they deserve. Why aren't those bandits who are working more hours asking for more pay? Kiara, what are you talking? You see why people be getting called mammies and then they try to act like it's just, what are you talking about? That's a lie. Dino, every job that I got, I've asked for more pay. And I got it. Women ask for more pay. So again, you're going to say that's anecdotal, but you saying that women don't ask for more pay is anecdotal as well. That is your opinion. Taz says none of that changes the argument. Niggas act like math gone because they changed the parameters. Exactly. Literally, right? The way that they got that women make 75 cents on the dollar is with a mathematical equation, right? Averaging it out. On average, he said it himself, women make 75 cents on the dollar. If that wasn't true, the equation wouldn't come out to that. That asking for more pay in corporate don't work. Right, exactly. I mean, sometimes they do. It really depends. But a lot of the times women ask for more pay, they're just not getting it. Yeah, it was usually more contract positions, Robin. So you're right about that. But to get in the chat and say women don't ask for more money. Look at Pig Daddy. He says, because they don't make the same types of choices men make. That's stupid. Again, if a woman is in the same position as a man, how is she not making the same? What are we talking about? Because the argument in that video was, oh, well, women aren't getting the education and they're just not at the same level as those men. Kinetic. We have mostly men paving our roads, and a lot of these roads right now are pieces of garbage. So what's your point? Maybe if we had some women, the roads would be paved properly. Don't you think? Because right now, the roads in America are some of the worst. There's people who come here from other countries and say, wow, you guys pay all of these taxes and your roads are crappy? Yeah, we do. So are you men who are paving the roads? Are you guys dumb? I just can't. You guys are ridiculous. Some of these arguments that you guys make, I think you guys just want to believe that men are superior. I think that's what it is. The delusion is that for a lot of you guys.
Them getting paid different salaries.
And I can give you a clear example, so actually we know what you're talking about. The STEM fields are the most well-paid jobs out there.
Look at Dino, he's mad.
Women want to go and do the jobs that they have to do with people. That's why, once again, women usually gravitate toward people, men gravitate towards things. So it's impossible for a woman to earn the same as men because men are occupying and are gravitating towards these well-paying jobs, while women are choosing to be teachers, to be kindergarten educators, to be nurses, and to be all that, when men are actually going to fields of engineering that actually are making them way more money than women. So let me bring real quick Lucky to the show.
Wait, because he tried to skate that by really quick. I'm going to put this right here. And again, when they brought her up, I knew somebody was going to pay for me to leave. When he mentioned that she was the fourth moderator, I knew somebody was going to pay for me to leave. Good morning, all. Good morning, Dawn. What's going on, Miss Jalen? Robin, obviously we know who won the debate. In reality, obviously, and this is not just because I'm biased, quote unquote, Taz won the debate. He's the only one who brought real factual evidence. You've seen Fatty's advice so far. He pulled up a Jordan Peterson video, and the next video is going to be a trans woman.
There, women don't want to be into STEM. Women want to go and do the jobs that have to do with people. That's why, once again, women usually gravitate towards people, men gravitate towards things. So it's impossible for women to earn the same as men because men are occupying and are gravitating towards these well-paying jobs, while women are choosing to be teachers, to be kindergarten educators, to be nurses, and to be all that, when men are actually going to fields of engineering that actually are making them way more money than women do. So let me bring real quick Lucky to the show. And this is Genesis. You are not on camera, so I'm going to overlap Lucky with you because I told you be on camera, but you can still talk. Okay, it's totally fine. If you guys want Lucky as one, I see with the I need the bonnet.
Oh God, I didn't see her
If you
camera
guys
up
want
before.
to see Lucky or too lucky to have a role as a judge, you have to replace Genesis, who costs you $150. Genesis gets a little bit of a cut if she is not brought back. For now, Lucky is going to be one of the moderators, but she doesn't have a vote. Genesis, you can talk all you want, is totally fine. Just make sure that you are taking notes because you are going to vote for now.
Exactly, Bree Nicole. She came late, wasn't listening to conversation really, and then said Fatty's the winner. All of those women were there to say he was the winner in the first place. It wasn't meant to be a discussion where they actually went back and forth and they provided proof. It was rigged from the beginning. I've never seen a debate structure where someone on the someone who's moderating the debate can be kicked out for a monetary value. You know, first of all, I haven't seen that. Usually you have people just complaining about the mods, but for some reason he instituted, which he knew he was going to get payment for, he instituted being able to financially take one of the moderators off. And I was literally the only impartial one there because I listened closely to everything Fatty said and everything Taz was saying. Yeah, Robin, of course. But at the end of the day, they're going to pretend like they had an impartial conversation. And they even had the Ashley girl play up the convo and act like she was really, disagreeing with anything Fatty said. Robin said, we were told you this already, Flora. I don't know what you guys are trying to get off topic. I don't really care to debate whatever points you guys are trying to make in the chat. Fatty says he's a simp at heart, and I hear it in his Reddit kick. He gives y'all an out. No, Royce. I just think that you guys are slow. Before being real, I think a lot of you guys are slow.
Ladies and gentlemen, what'd you say?
I'm allowed to say, like if you make a point and it's wrong, am I allowed to say something about that?
Absolutely. I just don't want you to say prove it when you guys can prove it respectfully. Like this being debunked several times, and I was a former feminist, so I believe.
Look, the GAO. So Jordan Peterson is more correct than the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. He's a simp for saturated fats. Robin, stop coming in here and distracting me with that. Oh my God. Dino says I'm delusional. Okay. And Pig Daddy says, why does the average female teacher nurse? That's not true at all. The average female nurse does not make more. And if they do, it has a lot to do with experience and expertise. So, again, I don't know what we're talking about here. And you guys are going to say, well, didn't you say that wasn't a valid argument for men? The problem is, when it's women making more than men, there's a specific reason. Hence why, right? Hence why the average, on average, women make 75 cents of the dollar, because you can add up all those very few little salaries where women sometimes make more than men. And it'll still add up to women making 75 cents on the dollar to most men. I know you guys hate math when it doesn't make your point, but that's what the math is. Joy Reed Jr. Some of you guys are just triggered. Like, it's weird that you guys can't have a conversation without getting in your feelings. Men make better employees. I know teachers and nurses that make 100K, so the jobs, those jobs pay a lot with experience. Right. And 9 times out of 10, the only time that you'll see a woman making more than a man is because she has significantly more experience and education than him. That's the only time. Bree Nicole says, James Duncan, hit the like button on your way out. Please do. Now it has to do with experience, you delusional dishwasher. I'm not a dishwasher, first of all, so I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe that's the job your mother had, and that's why she raised a dummy. Your denial to debate. I'm not having a debate. I'm reviewing a debate. I think you guys are a little slow, and at this point, I'm going to try to have some consideration for the fact that I may be speaking to people who are delayed. But I'm reviewing a debate, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to jump in the conversation in the chat and start debating you guys. Kiara, please control your mammy pussy, okay? Relax.
Until people actually explain that there's a lot of markers, type of job.
Oh, I get the joke of dishwasher, right? I bet his mama was a dishwasher and didn't accomplish nothing because she's a dusty just like her son. That was the point I made, idiot. Men do not work longer hours, weekends at a rate that far. No, that's not true at all. Plenty of women work. Plenty of women work right after their postpartum. So I don't know what you're talking about. Over here, coming in here, trying to threaten my channel. You see how pressed these men be about women having an opinion? The fight to continue to struggle is crazy. Yeah, they're slow. They're slow, Lana. They would rather subjugate women than have real conversations. They don't care to have a real conversation about equity, none of that. They just want to subjugate women. They want women to be dishwashers because that's all their mammies were. Thank you so much, Robin and Victorious One. Thank you so much for you guys supporting the show. I appreciate you. A lot of times people just come here and they just want to talk shit. They'll talk shit for hours and hours and hours, but they won't spend a penny. So thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show. Pig Daddy says, yes, some women do, but on average, they don't as much as men. Show me the data. Okay? I'm tired of you guys just saying women don't, women don't, women don't. Show me the data. The workforce literally depends on women, but you're saying that women aren't working? They're not working long hours? Whose fault is it that you dummies will agree to work for 12 hours in a day for $8.99 an hour? That's not women's fault. That's not women's fault. A lot of the men who are complaining about how much they have to work ain't even making no money. So pull it up. I'm having a conversation about a debate that happened and y'all are trying to debate me in the chat. Put the evidence and the data in the chat. Stop crying. Pick your buzzy up. I couldn't even say that. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. Pick your buzzy up and put the data in the chat. Stop crying. I've never worked to only 28.8 hours in my entire life. Every time I've had a full-time position, every time I've worked 40 to 60 hours. And I know women just like that. I know some women who live at their damn jobs. Life experience is not data. The workforce depends on women. You can post, mods can post links in the chat. Maybe they'll be generous and copy one of you guys' links so that we can click it. Maybe. And if you guys do that, ladies, please just check the sources before you do. Will you work 80 hours a week? Show me a bandit that's working 80 hours a week. Most of these men aren't working at all. Most of these men want to be social media. Look at Fatty. He had a quote unquote business. Now he be on YouTube. YouTube is his business. That is a delicate job. He's sitting at a desk. His fat ass orders pizza and takeout right from that desk. Thank you so much. Bree Nicole says, ignore the chats from these niggas. Niggas, send a super chat if you want some attention. Thirst buckets. Right. They want to talk all this junk, but don't want to send a penny. I'm not answering no more of you guys' questions. I'm not debating you guys in the chat. But if you're going to try and make a point, at least use some data. For what it's worth, the Department of Labor has a study issued in March 2023 that breaks down factors in the pay gap. Well, at least you provided some evidence, and I'll write that down as something to look forward to and see what it really says. But let's continue.
The type of hours, the type, or like if the woman gets pregnant, the type of, if the environment is actually the same, and you take all the things that make it different, there's no gender pay gap.
Well, I just want to say that Planned Parenthood and Roe vs. Wade both were created by women, not by men, not by the patriarchy. I just wanted to put that out there.
Who funded those? Who funded Planned
Royce, what are you talking about?
Who funded?
The government?
No. Okay, I'll wait to leave it at that.
So again, this is why people who are not American shouldn't be talking about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood absolutely gets government funding. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Oh, I'm not even gonna touch on that because he don't know. Of course he's not gonna mention that because he has no idea that our government subsidizes Planned Parenthood. We get money from the state for Planned Parenthood. You think there's a bunch of feminists paying for Planned Parenthood? These people are slow. Oh boy, let's continue.
Taz, do you want me to read anything here, like what's going on?
So again, in the United States, this is the United States Government Accountability Office that with this. I don't know why we would be listening to Jordan Peterson. But there's scholarly data and research that we can actually look at. So when I was asking for a source, I was more so asking for something scholarly, something that came from a university, maybe a government agency. This is government accountability office.
Royce, are you mad? Because I took your wrench because of what you were doing. Because I saw you wrote right above it. And even if you weren't, I took your wrench for that reason. How many comments were going by? You're right there, Ahmad. You're letting people say disrespectful stuff in the chat. Don't be mad. You just said women need to stay in their place. Why would I give you back your wrench? Why don't you contribute to the show financially and I'll consider giving you your wrench back? Mom Love said, unfortunately, the way men think is why women stay single and childless. It's safer and she will make more money so she can live in this patriarchal world. Exactly. Let's continue.
.gov. Do you have a .gov that points to your argument? Do you have something other than talking to point to your argument?
I don't. I just want to make it very clear that everybody knows that, as we know, universities are very left-leaning. Very, very left-leaning. Universities are not like we can complain about these universities being.
Again, I went to a PWI, and again, you're just going to say anecdotal, but this is why you can't have conversations where people are making statements that are definitive. When you say that universities are left-leaning, how does that apply to all the universities in red states that are riddled with racism, right-wing extremists? Right? How do we have the conversation? What's going on, David M?
Very very woke and pushing all these feminists and like all these liberal ideologies, and then ask for a study made by a university that probably is on that type of time. I don't have it right here. I just want to make sure that you answer this question, Mr. Tess. Is there a gender pay gap when it comes to modeling?
When it comes to modeling,
Yes.
not sure. The
You are
gender, the gender pay gap in America is typically about the overall conversation, not breaking down individual jobs for a person to be right. It's
So
more about if you accumulate all of it together and look at it across the board, not just the ones that are convenient for your argument.
No, so
Thank you, Miss Jalen, for the super sticker. I appreciate it. It says like a high five, I believe. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Hey, Real Redbone. She says, hey, Flora in chat. How you doing today, girl?
Again, I like to concede things, right? I like to concede things. I'm a genderless person, right? I just want to make sure that you have the same type of energy. Is it fair to say there are several jobs, modeling one of them included, where women are way more rewarded monetarily by doing the same job that men are doing? Is that fair to say?
It would depend on who you ask, because again, you're using these catch-alls, and you gotta remember there's a lot of models that have come out with Me Too conversations about being essayed and harassed and whatnot while they were models. So I'm not sure if they would have the same understanding of it that
Besides that point, which is a very good point, by the way, besides that point, how many women in society are models, right? Because they don't want to have the conversation about the average, the general, right? Which is a culmination of adding up all the salaries of women and dividing it, right? That's how you get an average. They don't want to talk about that. But they would like to talk about how women make more money in modeling, right? Even though the people who are really making the money in modeling, right, are the fashion, the designers, the people who are running the fashion shows and things like that. The men behind the curtain are still the ones making more money. But let's not talk about generally men and women. Let's talk about a specialized field that's specifically women. Right? Because who really cares too much to see men all dolled up and stuff like that? That's not what men even want to see. Men want to see women dolled up, dressed up, looking good in clothes and stuff like that. Y'all don't want to see men in high fashion. And even then, what percentage of the average woman is actually a model? So you guys don't want to have the general conversation when we're talking about generally men and women who are regular people in society, but you guys want to use modeling as an example, which is a very, very small portion. First of all, high fashion models have extremely uniquely thin bodies. Extremely uniquely thin. But let's talk about modeling and not the average woman. Exactly, Robin. And we know a lot of those models be starving. And not just because they're skinny, they be starving because they don't have no money like that. And they don't always hit a big break. Some of them will continue to do gigs and gigs and gigs until they get, middle age, and then suddenly they can't be in the modeling field anymore because you know what men hate when women do? They hate when women age. Pig Daddy says a very, very small portion of men make above $70K annually. Right, and the average woman still makes about $25,000 a year. Right, so when we're talking about salary and the fact that women make 75 cents on the dollar, a lot of that has to do with averaging all the salary of women. We're not just talking about women in a particular field. If some of you men would love to go do the research, that you all are the STEM kings, if some of you guys would like to go do the research on individual fields, you can go do that as well. That's not true, Kyle. It's a simple concept. Do as good as job and you'll get paid accordingly. That's not a fact. Can you prove this 75 cents on the dollar? Actually, again, the Government Accountability Office already proved that. But because you're so busy defending men, Kiara, you're going to tell me I'm an outright liar. You're going to call me a liar. The Government Accountability Office is a liar too, right? Are they a liar too? Yeah, because Jordan Peterson said it wasn't, right? Jordan Peterson said he has the real answer, Taz. That's why they're going against all the documented data to say it's wrong and I'm a liar. And that it's been debunked. You look at Royce. Why y'all gotta bring up patriarchy and oppression? Just ask for help nicely. Oh, wow. I guess women didn't try that. Women definitely didn't try that before. That's what you're saying, right?
You would.
And men be they say too, the DD and the Epstein files and all of that, there's a bunch of boys on that list too. Like literally they say that they touch boys too. And respectfully, again, this is another myth, right? And Doris, let me just do one thing real quick. Doris,
You understand that though, right? Extreme boy doesn't negate the point. Feminism should support those boys too.
but
Feminism doesn't mean you have to be opposite of boys. It's not about hating men. That's
no, feminism is supposed to actually bridge the gap.
Kiara, I read that in an article and it touched you. I'm reviewing a debate. He pulled up the article from the Government Accountability Office. So who am I to believe? Jordan Peterson or the Government Accountability Office? Some of you women are just dumb. And agreeing the way you do with men, I hope it got you a man at least.
Means to actually make things equitable. I'll actually go to the equity instead of the equality. Boys are getting touched too. Actually, I would say that still, if you put, for example, a man on the street at night and he gropes 100 women, let's go a day. If you put a man on the street and he gropes 100 women, and you put a woman on the streets and she gropes 100 men, I guarantee you, she's going to have a way lighter sentence. Nobody's going to actually gang up on her. Nobody's going to do nothing egregious to her. While that man, by the 7 women that he's being raped, is going to be mobbed, punched, slapped, and he's going to put in jail, and he's going to actually take way more time than women. I guarantee you. Actually, you are.
Dad said these are probably the same men who think femicide has been debunked. Yes. I remember a few years ago when these bandits were out online trying to say femicide is not real, that black women don't really get deleted or abused even at 6 times the rate of other groups of women. Absolutely. But this is why I said they go and they cater to men who say what they want to hear. Right? These men online don't go to places where men are having real conversations, because as much as they try to lie and say that women don't that women literally you hoes are unreal. Listen, some of these women are just too much. Not being biased, but Taz was not good in debating in the past with sin. Okay, what does that have to do with the conversation? What's going on? Oh boy, those statistics don't take into account certain factors that only impact women. What kind of factors though? Right, Robin, but it's always the same people coming in here trying to attack people, so you're gonna get the smoke you're gonna get. What's going on, Brownie? Native Americans aren't figured into those figures. I can't believe she just said that, Flora. You can literally see her comment. Which who said what? Oh, that you didn't know how to debate with Cynthia. She just be saying stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, she'll just come in the chat when we're talking about Taz and just start saying stuff. Honestly, that's Sin 7. That's how she be. She used to be in it when you would go on Daryl or other people's channel. She would go in there and start spreading rumors. That's what some of these people be doing. They don't have nothing to contribute to the conversation, so they have to start making personalized attacks and arguments. Taking a year off to take care of kids. What? Psychos. Oh, Lord. Let me see here. I just read a comment. Taking a year off to take care of kids. What job, what field has more than 12 weeks of maternity leave? I'll wait. Because majority of these jobs have like 3 to 6 months max of maternity leave. Yeah, because Paul is just in his feelings. You know, Paul is just, his bussy is pulsating right now. It's going like this. Every time I mention something against men, it's like he can't have the conversation. I have many times. Certain companies have 12 months. Certain companies, but that's rare. That's very rare. That's not like most jobs that women have don't have 12 months of maternity leave. It's literally 3 to 6 months. And you get a little bit more than that if you're actually in higher up positions. And even then, that's not necessarily going to be the case for most women. Most women aren't going to be in the higher up positions where they can take longer than 6 months for maternity leave. Yeah, exactly. They have paternity leave. Robin, my brother took 12 weeks of paternity leave. Chakra love. It's not normal. It is not normal for women to have 12 months of maternity leave. Most women are dropping their kids off at daycare in the 5-6 months, especially if they need to work for their household to pay bills. Miss Jones said, this is sad, the hate towards women. Well, you know, Trump got a lot of these weirdos super excited too. I think that's why we're seeing a lot in the chat as well. A lot of these men are empowered by Trump. They're very excited. They feel like Trump is going to give them access to women, and they're wrong. But that's what they think. It's 12 months in Canada. That's Canada. That is not even remotely true in America. Brownie says you can't argue American politics with foreigners. Right. First, he will try to have conversations about American things that he has literally no education on. And then he'll say, keep it in the Western world. I wasn't even going to review this, but I think I might now. I think you should too, Taz, because there was a lot of points that were made that were just so stupid. They were so dumb. Like, I literally at one point I had mentally checked out of the conversation because it was every rebuttal that he made was based in nothing. It was based in nothing. That's why I was kind of hoping. I mean, it was kind of late, so for me, I fell asleep after after the debate was over. So I didn't get to see too much of like the after videos, and I know Nyla took it down. I know you did this is what I wanted to say during the debate, but I almost feel like it has to be reviewed because some of the claims that were being made were just completely baseless. And because the fact that the moderators, first of all, I was switched out as a moderator because I was the only one that asked them to make real points and prove them, not just pull up TikTok videos. But every point that was made was literally a male talking point from like YouTube. I definitely checked out. Georgia and Georgia Tech were in a dogfight that ended with 8 overtimes. Okay. You were watching football. Yeah, Miss Jalen, they paid $50 to remove me. They paid $50 to remove me because at the end of the day, I was probably the only one who was actually going to ask questions. Ashley asked a bunch of questions, acted like she disagreed, just for her to, in the end to say, well, I think Fatty made a stronger argument. How you listen to that conversation, and he still owes me $50, by the way. How do you listen to that whole conversation and say that Taz, in the end, had no evidence? And he lost his patience, and that's why he lost the debate. He said, yes, I was doing what most men do on the weekends. No, the caliber of men online, they prefer to argue with women on the weekends. Exactly, Brownie, but when you don't want a certain moderator to be part of the conversation for real, of course you're going to put a bounty in place. Fatty was not making any sense at all. They be thirsty as hell over there. Exactly. This is why I don't support those debates. You can't, because at the end of the day, somebody will come in with real facts. They did similar to Sharon. The difference for me, though, is I don't think Sharon is as well read, not even remotely as well read as Taz, unfortunately, because a lot of the times he'll do the research, but you can tell it's very general. And again, I'm not trying to come at him at all. I just feel like when he does have conversations He's not strong enough on the ideology that he's trying to oppose, which to me says that he does limited research on certain things. I'm not coming at him, I'm just saying. And when you do limited research, when you do get in a debate or argument, you're not going to be able to stand on the truth as much. And that's what I notice sometimes with those debates is they're not able to stand on the truth because these bandits will jump in with their brigades of four mods in their favor and start attacking what the other person is saying. At one point, the big chubby mammy that they didn't even want to see her when she was on cam, at one point she was making attacks towards what Taz was saying. And I guess he was saying, well, Flora was doing that. I wasn't doing that because I asked him to clarify what he said. But these debates, they're not rooted in facts or anything. They're just supposed to be like a show. It's supposed to be showmanship. Like who can make the crowd more you know what I mean? I think that's what's coming up now. Yeah, let me play this.
Are doing a place, please tell me. If I go outside and I rape 10 women, not rape, and I grope 10 women, and you go outside and you grope 10 men, which one is going to have a worse response by society, the cops, the judges, and whatsoever?
Which one is going to be reported less?
Which one?
Who's least likely to report?
Man.
Right. So if you're not reporting, you can't make the argument.
No, I'm talking about a case where there's witness, there's mob around it, and there's a camera pointed at the person. Who is actually going to get the worst treatment, the man or the woman? Because Ashley was doing no. I want to make sure the moderators know what they're doing. So please enrich yourself, Ashley, and I'm asking you the question. Who do you think is going to have the worst treatment? The man that is groping this woman or the woman that is groping this man?
So honestly, it's the women. You're thinking about society just saying shame, shame, but you're not thinking about the girl that was raped and then killed her rapist and now she's in jail for 10 years. But a man can rape a woman and he's only in jail for 6 months or not at all.
So you are telling me that if man and woman are accused by the same crime, which is rape in this time, that women are way more punished when it comes to years and harsher sentences than men?
And let's just say this, if he knew anything about this country remotely, he would know that plenty of men get away with rape. Even the ones who go to court, a lot of the times, there is attacks on the woman. They will say, well, you were dressed this way, or she's promiscuous, right? He clearly knows absolutely nothing about the justice system because men in mass aren't getting huge, harsh sentences for graping women, right? The Brock Turner, the one who graped an unconscious woman behind a dumpster, got 6 months in prison because they said he couldn't handle it. Exactly, they'll call the woman characterless. Look at Trey Songz, out and free, and he should have been jailed. Trey Songz has dozens of women saying things about him, not in jail. Oh, he's a celebrity. He's still a man, not in jail. Look at Diddy. How many years has Diddy been operating the way he has? Who is telling these bandits that men are going to jail en masse for graping women and getting large sentences at that?
Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, we're going to use them in the same way that they're going to be flipped. Of course, we're not talking about a woman being, yeah. But absolutely, there are plenty of men that have raped women that have not been to jail. Plenty of them. If we're going to go to university, that's a whole slew just in itself. But if a woman kills her rapist, she's going to jail for a long time.
So explain me this. Why every time a male teacher touches a woman or a kid or whatever, he gets 20, 30?
So, and here's my other thing. Why do you want light sentences for sexual predators? That's what I want to know. Why do you want light sentences for predators? How many years do you believe somebody who touches a kid should get in jail? Like, what is he talking about here? He's literally saying, why is it that men, because it's an egregious crime. That's why they're getting many years, because it's egregious. That shouldn't even be a question here.
woman actually brave these kids, because we see this all the time, every time they get a slap in the wrist and they get 4 years, 6 years, 10 years with probation. But why does that happen? You are lying right now.
Okay,
I don't know what people you're thinking about that you're talking about, but that doesn't happen in America.
Right.
Oh,
Like, it's a very small amount that you're speaking of that when a woman is only slightly tainted for touching somebody. No, women are going to jail for a very long time in America. They're going to jail for a long time doing things like that. When men do not have the same repercussions all the time. Some do, of course, but
Mandatory minimum. Mandatory minimum.
Exactly. Mind you, these are the moderators that said that Fatty won the debate. He is purposefully saying things with no facts, giving his opinion, and advocating for what? For men who rape children to get less time because women do? Is that what the conversation is here? Robin said this is the same person that made pedo statements that clearly were just jokes. Right. Because if I'm talking about men going to jail for essaying children, I'm not going to say that men should get lower times too. I'm not going to say that.
That's crazy, but I will accept that because, hey, the new moderator has been
So notice, it literally said you can remove a moderator if they're being terrible. I haven't talked in the last 20 minutes. Why is somebody paying for me to get off the panel? If that wasn't the intention, which by the way, where are my $50? Because yesterday he tried to say, oh, well, you're not going to get the 50 if you don't stay here the whole time. So I'm supposed to stay here the whole time when somebody can bump me just for money and my opinion doesn't count. What am I supposed to do that for? The email didn't say nothing about staying part of the conversation to get my pay. The whole email literally said, if you're bumped from the conversation as a moderator, you will get $50 as compensation. These panelists can't even keep their deals. They can't even keep their deals. That's why he want to say in the show, oh, well, I literally told Flora that all she has to do is come back here and stay. You bumped me out of the panel for no reason. I hadn't talked in 20 minutes. Why would I stay there and be part of the conversation knowing that you guys just didn't want me to be able to vote? That's why you paid $150. This is what you do when you don't want to have a real conversation. Every moderator there spoke up at least one time to refute something that Fatty said, but in the end, he still won? It makes no sense, but let's continue. Okay, too much dusty theatrics. I don't have time for all that.
You have 5 minutes to bring Genesis back. If Genesis is not back, she can stay on the studio and ask questions, but she's not going to be able to vote who won this debate. Taz, you got it if the ladies don't want to ask nothing right now.
Didn't that bounty mean I'm down though?
No, the bounty is lucky up. Oh, I said Genesis. 1 second. I said Genesis because Genesis is not on camera. Fred, who do you want to actually be replaced? Do you want Flora to be replaced, Ashley, or Genesis?
Exactly. The entire time, the people in the chat were saying, remove Flora, remove Flora, remove Flora. If you want to have a quote-unquote impartial debate, why remove someone because she don't quote-unquote like you? I haven't spoke up in the last 20 minutes. Why do I have to be removed? Right? Because the email says, and I'll show you guys, where they talk about bumping a moderator. $150 trigger. Okay? Gloves off. No, oh, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. To bump a moderator you think is doing a terrible job. The public has 5 minutes to match and bring him or her back. If not, a replacement mod will be summoned. She was already in the cut. The moderator that gets bumped will get $50 compensation if they aren't brought back. Okay? They're going to be like, why are you sharing that information? That was the plan. There's no, oh, you have to be here and keep watching the conversation even though you can't participate and you can't vote for a conversation that you've been part of from the beginning. Right? Because this is the second 2-hour clock that they're instilling here. Because look, we're about an hour and 20 minutes in. Took 30 minutes to start. There are about 50 or so minutes already because it took them about 30 minutes to start. Right, Brownie. I came for the coins because I knew they wanted mod mannequins. They didn't want people who were actually going to challenge them. Not to mention that 30 minutes prior to this, I didn't say anything. I didn't speak up at all. Genesis did and Ashley did. But the moment I stepped in, they knew that I was going to actually mod. If you guys seen the other previous debates that they've had in these conversations, the moderators started arguing with people. I watched one of these debates that the moderator started arguing with the other debater. But I'm a terrible mod. Why? Because you don't want to have an impartial discussion. You want people to just say what you're going to say.
See, I didn't saw that. Let me just give a second and then we return. You said Flora?
Mod mannequins. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because they knew damn well it was me. They were trying to get off the convo.
Okay. Check the kitty table now. Okay, that means you don't bring Flora back. Lucky would stay as permanent, okay? So 5 minutes are counting. Go ahead, Taz. You got it. Sorry for the interruption. You're muted.
Like I said, I don't know where we are in this because again, you're not showing me the benefit of patriarchy by pointing at women and saying, what about the boys? Everybody's suffering under patriarchy, and because women cling together and fight patriarchy from their position, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with that. What is feminism doing that's so harmful? Because I'm talking about the harm of patriarchy. I don't see the harm in feminism. I still don't see it.
Let's go with one. Feminism is breaking families apart. Feminism promotes individuality. Feminism is reducing the birth rates. Is actually augmenting the divorce rates. Is actually producing women that are legally made to go work for a company that doesn't love them, while those guys make a ton of money, and then actually the complete family loses. The kid sees his mom less, and if the woman actually falls into the system of feminism, it probably is going to be very probable that she finds her man. The kids see the dead legs. Let me ask you a question, Taz.
Can you show me some feminists pushing that?
Wait. You need me to show you the tremendous amount of...
Yes, in a debate, you are supposed to show your evidence. You don't just talk out of your ass and tell people what you think is the truth. Right? You're supposed to show your evidence. Let me just define what a debate is, because I think some of these dudes are mentally slow, and I just want them to know that we see them, right? And we're hoping to get them some real information tonight. All right? A formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward, right? Similar discussion exchange of views, discourse, parlay, argument, dispute. Okay? Argue about a subject, especially in a formal manner. What is a formal argument? What is a formal argument? Is a formal argument telling your opinion and then getting people who agree with you? Is that what a formal argument is? Is that what they do in legislative assemblies? Is have opinion-based conversations? Actually, don't they have to bring evidence with them to the legislative assemblies when they have debates? Or do they just get to go there and say, well, I believe that women, they just worried about themselves. They don't care anything about families. They're individualists. Okay, so do men push families then? If you believe that feminism pushes individualism, what does patriarchy push, right? Because we don't see a bunch of men out here creating families. Right? We don't see a bunch of men creating communities and families so that women can rest comfortably. That's not what they're doing. They're not even getting the education they need to keep up financially with women.
A woman around that propels the
What a woman, a feminist. We're not talking about women. Because see, that's what I'm saying. I think, well, just let me say this so you understand my point. When you tell me what feminists are doing, you have to show me a feminist. You can't just pick some women out and call them feminists and say those women are feminists.
Okay, I got you.
There are women that carry that title. That title is
No, actually, Kyle, we already looked up patriarchy, right? Patriarchy means that the male leads. That everything goes through the male. Someone hurt this man above me. Oh yeah, they definitely did, really. There's a lot of hurt men in the comments today. I'm actually surprised to see so many males found my channel today. And they're sticking around. They said this is such a terrible show and I'm so terrible. But they're still here and they're watching. I hope they hit the like button. They're not having fun. They're not holding on to the money that they want to hold on to. I mean, spend the money they need to. Am I muted? I think you guys can still hear me. Am I muted? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me, please. Patriarchy means male dominated at the exclusion of women. Exactly. Can y'all hear me? Okay, Lana Love, because you got a bunch of bandits coming in here saying they can't hear me. They're literally just talking.
Oh, so I have to find a family that suits to your description?
Someone who identifies at least as a feminist to make your argument about what feminists are saying and doing and thinking. Yeah, we need a feminist for that.
Okay, so is Drew Afwalo, are you familiar with her?
No.
So she's the biggest feminist on TikTok.
That's great.
Ashley's laughing, right?
Show me what she said. I don't care about feminists like that.
Okay, so again, you guys are asking for a lot of...
Mind you, right, we're talking about, Sunshine says, Flora, intervene. This is people in his chat asking me to intervene because they understood that even though I don't like Fatty, I didn't come into that discussion biased. I was trying to listen to all of it. I had to refresh like 5 times. That might be your device. Women do not give up your labor for free to these ninjas. Definitely don't. But I'm going to rewind a little bit because there was something I wanted to touch on. I lost my train of thought.
You need a feminist for that.
Okay, so is Drew Afwalo, are you familiar with her?
No.
So
okay, now I remember what I was going to say. First of all, somebody said in the chat this is the first time they've ever had sources and evidence like this. Yeah, because most of the debates that these clowns have, and again, I'm not trying to just come at the people who debate these guys, but most of the debates that they have with these clowns are not structured debates, and they know that. And instead of coming into it so that they can wipe the ground with them, they just do the same thing that the guys do. And that's the problem. that's the problem, is that they come into it, both sides a lot of the time in those debates don't have the information. So even though they make a good argument, they're not strong. They don't feel strongly connected to the material and data and all that to be able to have the to be able to have the conversation. No intellectual construct at all. Zero. They don't even know how to read or pull statistics. Yeah, I remember, Robin. I remember what's his name? Fantastic was over there on This Might Be Risky. He had no idea how to interpret the data that he pulled up. None. He said, "Oh, well, raw numbers, it's not happening that much. Femicide is not happening that much. Raw numbers." There's a reason why there are whole classes on statistics. Because statistics literally are not meant to be taken in a raw number way, right? Just like when we talk about the average pay that women make towards a man, in relation to a man, 75 cents on the dollar, right? That comes from the average of all women's salaries compared to the average of all men's salaries. They love math until we have to apply the statistics to the conversations that they don't like. Yeah, they pull up raw numbers instead of rates. Oh, well, it was only 50,000 black women who were deleted this year. If you compare that to rates per capita, right? That's where the statistics come from, that black women are being deleted at 6 times the rate of other groups. But these people want to say, "Oh no, let's talk about raw numbers, raw data." And unfortunately, we can't educate these ninjas, Victorious One, especially the ones who are committed to not knowing anything. Kinetic, what are you talking about?
Families on TikTok.
That's great.
Actually, lesbian, right?
Show me what she said. I don't care about feminists like that.
Okay, so again, you guys are asking for a lot of me, but because I'm a generous human being, I will pull my TikTok and I will. Actually, it's lesbian because she knows what I'm going to pull. She knows what type of time this woman is. But don't worry, I got you. Let me stop this for a second.
Is she going to say what you just said, or is she going to say something different?
No, I got you. Don't worry. I'll let her talk for you.
I'm not nervous at all. I'm trying to figure out.
It's because you are telling me it's the same thing as me saying. Like what you're doing to me is the same thing as me saying, tell me one man of the patriarchy that calls himself a feminist.
And there goes the gaslighting, right? Because every time that Taz has brought up a point, every time he's cited a source. So why would him asking him to cite an actual source and not just pull up a video that says something random, how is that him attacking him? Thank you, Ronald. I'm just going to sit here doing Brody smoking this joint. I'll probably need a new set of tires because it's going to take forever. So you're streaming a stream. What a lame. Okay, that's too bad. But you're here, right? You're here. It's called a review, dumbass. A lot of the dummies that you watch don't even have content. They just review videos all day long. So I don't know what you're talking about. It literally says debate review. What are you mad about, sir? Hit the like button and shut your ass up and sit down. There was a comment that I wanted to read that I got distracted. And you correlate that with 25% less pay, you would understand that why. Name a single thing that makes women worth a man's time. I'll wait. You see, Royce, you see how you have to go to saying just the most ridiculous, misogynistic, chauvinistic statements because you have nothing to say about what we're actually discussing? Present and accounted for. Yep.
Take your shit at face value. For whatever reason, you want me to actually take a woman out of the crowd to empower, to actually.
I want you to talk about feminists, not just women.
Yes, and this.
So hopefully this is a feminist.
Yes. So let me put the name here real quick. Okay. Do-do-do-do-do.
This Royce
Let me
dude.
just write your name here.
What's up, Blackish Cracker? He said this Royce dude don't get the punani.
You on the side of feminism. Why is he looking up feminism for you? I don't understand what's going on.
Because he's trying to make a point about feminism that, again, he's telling me what.
And this is where I said that old mammy don't know what the hell she's talking about. Fatty hasn't presented one piece of data, not one piece, to prove his point. But Fatty wants to make a bunch of points without any data. And when the other debater asks him, well, where is your evidence? How, is she going to support what you're saying? Yeah, Empress, no pushback whatsoever. None. That's why they booted me off the panel, because I was the only moderator that was asking him to show evidence, to not just make wild statements that don't have any real data behind it. Like saying saying women don't work overtime. I don't know why I was about to say black women. I meant in general. This is why the conversation couldn't go that far. No data, no source, just a shit show. Just a shit show where he's just talking, and then now the big bad mammy is gonna speak up and say, well, why are you telling him to prove your point? It's nigga time from here.
Women said, and I asked them to tell me what a feminist said.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even know why we got judges that's remedial like that for real. Like, I don't know what you're talking about for real. You tripping.
Because you're not making your point. You're not making a point.
I'm not supposed to be making a point right now. He is. That's why I asked him to actually show me where he's getting that from. Again, remedial.
Oh boy.
So this is something that happened to Drew Fall, right? She is one of the feminists that talks about body positivity. Body positivity. Men need to stop shaming women for their bodies, when all she does all the time is shaming men for their bodies. Equality, right? Oh, actually, you thought I was getting right? This is the equality that you're talking about, sir. I got you. Don't worry about it. Oh, muted. Right? I'm giving you one example. Then we can move on.
Drew replied to me on Twitter. I will say first and foremost, I very much respect her replying on Twitter, because we know very well that she can easily just stitch my video calling me an ugly ass bitch on TikTok and her followers will eat it up like Thanksgiving leftovers. But I do want to talk about what she says in this thread, because some of the rebuttals are rather interesting to me. For starters, she just wastes absolutely no time before just mentioning the fact that I'm white. And I hate when people bring up the fact that I'm white passing, because that means I have to involuntarily share with the class the fact that I am half Native American Mexican, this is my mother. I'm really still not exactly sure why she felt the need to bring up my race.
So, first point, woman telling that you shouldn't judge them by their gender while they're judging people by their race. First one, very hypocritical. Let's keep going.
I saw this tweet she made after the thread where she said that all of her insults are based in patriarchal, Eurocentric beauty standards.
So patriarchy is making a feminist insult a man. I thought they were strong and independent.
I just think this is a particularly weird hill to die on, considering the fact Drew doesn't just critique white men, she insults black men, Hispanic men, Asian men. Essentially what she's saying here is that she knowingly uses Eurocentric beauty standards to insult men of color, which seems a bit problematic when you put it like that.
Are you okay, Ken, with a white woman insulting men? Because, no, not men, black men. Because the standard of beauty is...
Now, what does that prove? Like, I just want to, when I tell you some people just don't need the internet, I don't know who this is. He should have had to tell me that this was a trans person that he was presenting as a woman. That's what I heard. I personally don't be on TikTok like that, so I don't want to be that. I personally don't want to push that one for too much longer. That's what I was told in the chat. Right? But regardless, what of value has that person what value does that person have to feminism? Right? She's a big feminist on TikTok. What the hell does that mean? Right? That's why when you started citing first wave, second wave feminists and things like that, he had no idea what was even going on. Hey, Terrence, what's going on? I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're doing well. He couldn't talk about first wave feminism because he has no idea the roots of feminism. He just hears women on TikTok and he believes those are feminists. Nailala says, it's weird that the class of males that are the lowest tier within a patriarchy are fighting for it. The patriarchy was built with you being considered the oppressed class. They consider you oppressed. Listen, but for them, feminism is these people, because we don't know the gender or whatever of this creature that's speaking, but for them, feminism is women speaking on TikTok, right? They have no idea that patriarchy even oppresses men as well. They have no idea. That's why they advocate for it. Because for them, it's just, oh, women shouldn't be allowed to call them stupid on TikTok. Because obviously that lady supposedly attacks all type of men, black men, Latin men, Asian men. Now it says they call unmarried childless men wasted males. Right. They don't even realize that patriarchy is built on the place of the male as a father in the home. He's not just a male. He doesn't just have a peen, right? He's a patriarch. He's the father leader of a family. Nyla, I've been saying that on repeat and they don't get it. The NAACP was in operation 20 years before Eleanor became first lady. Y'all be saying anything. Yeah, of course they do. Whereas you people don't affect my life. The only thing y'all can do is wash my car. Let me continue. Let me continue the stream because y'all be coming in here just saying stuff and you guys really don't know what's going on, honestly.
Is Europeanized, Eurocentric? I don't know. I'll keep going.
Bro, is that the person? Is that the person that's the feminist or somebody? Like, who is that? What are we watching?
This is a person that is actually pointing out who is this person. Is the biggest feminist TikToker called Drew Follow. She has 15 controversies on her.
A feminist TikToker getting on TikTok and running her mouth isn't doing a goddamn thing for feminism. I'm sorry. I don't know the lady, right? I know all the other feminists, the ones who actually really fought for women. I don't know these TikTok advocates. How is a TikTok advocate your source in a debate? What's going on, Ray Midnight? How is a TikTok advocate your source in a debate? I'm confused. I'm genuinely confused. He can't even vocalize why he's playing this lady other than her being a TikTok star. Those are not the feminists that feminists are actually referring to. I don't look for TikTok advocates when I think about feminism.
You don't have no interviews, no quotes.
No, sir, respectfully.
But you got these fucking guys that want to talk shit, man. How is this the evidence?
Hey, one second. There's literally a tweet of her. We are reviewing the tweet that she said is her words. You want me in real time, in the middle of the debate, to go search the internet for a specific...
No, you were supposed to prepare before you got to the debate, dumbass. Right? Most people, when they're getting ready for a debate, they pull up all the information and the sources. So how did Taz get that information? Are you saying that he Googled that shit on the spot and that's how he was able to refute every single one of your points? Nyla says the men that patriarchy says are wasted males don't benefit from it. Right? For example, a man who has a vasectomy. You are literally allowed to exist so that patriarchs have someone to shine their shoes. Yes. His sources were YouTube Shorts and TikTok. And then he has the nerve right in the debate, Taz, to say, what am I supposed to go look for information right now? No, dumbass. You were supposed to come prepared to the debate. You knew the topic. Why are you waiting till the video to pull resources or to pull sources outside of TikTok? You're supposed to do that before the conversation happens, dumbass. I'm sorry, like he literally just admitted that he came to a debate unprepared. That's embarrassing. If this was a real structured debate in a school, they would ask you to leave. I had the audacity to bring the National Institute of Health as a source. Right, because who's going to read all that? That's why you put an article up and he said, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Read it, dumbass. The title was large. Women still suffering a wage gap. He said, what am I supposed to do with this? So data is not relevant in a debate? Just TikTok and YouTube shorts. Because that's what he was doing. Swiping through YouTube shorts. You're supposed to do the research before you come to the conversation. Who wants to talk to somebody that has no idea what they're talking about? Patriarchy is the rules of the father, not the tears of wasted males. Right. This is why I really do think you should do a review of the debate, Taz, because some of the points were just extremely ridiculous. I don't know how you didn't start trolling. And then people ask me why I just troll in these conversations. How are you supposed to have a conversation with somebody that's this stupid that would admit that they came to a debate unprepared?
Keep video of her talking da-da-da-da-da. Why didn't you tell me before the show? Actually, why don't you go write me a quote by Snoop Dogg about how we should oppress women? I know it's easy to find because you can go get
Can he even smell?
with the tongue saying, oh, saying shit, blah, 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 and you get it. But respectfully, you are being disingenuous and you are being dishonest. I shouldn't have to go ahead and search a video of a random YouTuber or...
No, you should. It's not disingenuous to expect people to come to a debate prepared. So he was supposed to tell you before the conversation to come prepared? He was to tell you before the conversation to come and bring scholarly articles. Does it have to do with the fact that the people that you debate usually just come and scream and yell with you and they usually don't have any real evidence? Is that why you were unprepared for a real debate? Because telling him that he should have told you to come with the information ahead of time, I would assume if I'm coming to a debate, that you're coming to the debate with information, not just running your mouth online. That would be my assumption. Obviously, it would be a poor assumption in this case, correct? I think it would be.
A random TikToker or a random feminist to prove your point. So now I'll stop and I'll proceed. Yes.
No, you're not proving my point, but listen, you keep telling me what feminists think, what feminists are saying. Feminist this, feminist that. You ain't showed me no feminists, bro.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. What the feminists? No, it's fine. What do feminists think? Yes. I'm asking you a question.
I don't care. I don't care whatever. What I'm telling you is whatever they think is better for them than some dumbass patriarchy that men support. Because
let's go with this. Okay, that's fair. You know what's funny? I will take the burden. I will take the burden and actually say what feminists say, right? You are familiar, for example, with the slow walk, the slut walk, right? You probably are familiar with it.
Support that, bro. I don't care if women support that.
No, I'm asking, are you familiar with it?
That's when I checked out.
I don't care if women support it or not.
No. You are asking for things that women do or say, right? Are you familiar with the slut walk?
I'm familiar with the slut walk, yeah.
Okay, the slut walk is a march that actually wants to promote women being promiscuous without being judged by society.
When was the last time that happened? Wasn't that one time thing?
No, respectfully. It's literally an Italy thing. Amber Rose did 4 of those on the last one. Like, that only stopped with the pandemic. My question is that positive or negative?
For who? For who?
Let's go for a woman. No, actually, let's go for a woman now and then for society.
Right, because the debate is about for women, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
How you feel about society and men is irrelevant. For women, I would say it's their choice.
So,
And it's quite possible that could be yes, if she wants to do that.
Okay.
Again, I don't have to be in support of it. I don't have to support it.
So, and now I'm going to ask you the $1 million question, right? A woman being promiscuous, having more sexual partners, putting herself in a situation where she actually can get hurt, can get raped, can get an STD, can become pregnant by a man she doesn't like. Is that positive for her or negative for her, Mr. Ted?
You're going to have to ask her. Not every woman looks at children she had as a mistake or an error. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, it might seem like an error to the outside, but she's perfectly fine with the outcome of her relationship or the child or whatever.
So you are not with...
Now it says, basically these incels and wasted males think that patriarchy is going to level the playing field. Well, that's why the first thing that he referenced again in this conversation at the end of this part was to say, well, what about the slut walk, huh? Is women being promiscuous? All they think about is intercourse. They're not really thinking about for real what would be beneficial for women or whatever. The reason why they're focused on patriarchy is because they think patriarchy will get them closer to underwear. Right? They think they're going to get some women's. They're going to get somebody to finally accept their ugly self and be forced to have intercourse with a man because they need money for bills. That's what they think. That's the only reason why he's bringing up the slut walk. I'm actually not sure. I'm not too sure, Taz, because I just thought the idea of slut walk was, I don't know. I never liked Amber Rose, so I never really looked into it like that. I also thought it was kind of disturbing that some of them were walking outside nude for real. So I really don't know too much, and I'm not going to speak on it. But yeah, I mean, this is, for them, it's about access to women. It's about access to women. And for some reason, they think that patriarchy is going to make it easier for them to get women, right? Because if women need men in society to pay their bills and pave their roads, then they're going to have to deal with one of these bandits. Taz Exclusive Reaction says, I didn't know that. Sounds like an extreme way of raising awareness. I never really looked into it again because I didn't like the idea of like women walking around nude. I just thought that as somebody who would say that I have a lot of feminist attributes, I don't agree with that. I thought it was a little much. But I think, hey, women should be able to do whatever the hell they want. If they want to walk outside naked, that's their prerogative. It is a protest against victim blaming and rape culture, specifically focused on the idea that a woman's clothing choices can somehow contribute to her being SA'd, often using that term. I've heard that sometimes, so I'm sure that's true in some ways. I'm sure that's true in some ways for sure. But I'm not going to lie, I never really looked into that. The mods were supposed to correct that too. If the origins are to push back against patriarchy, he shouldn't have been able to use it deceptively. Right, but it's about a gotcha moment. Right? That's the type of debates he wants to have with people. It's not about having real evidence. It's saying, well, look, I found a feminist that disagrees with you. Or I found a feminist that says something that, did you agree with that? Right? He has no real evidence. He just got up videos that he thought were going to be a gotcha to the points that you're trying to make since you were, quote unquote, in support of feminism.
I need to concede that the woman that has 50 sexual partners is in more risk of STDs, getting pregnant out of wedlock, being SA'd and all that. You are not willing to concede that point.
Concede what point?
The point that if you're pushing for a woman to be more sexual active and out there, that is a more probability that you're going to get a negative outcome instead of a woman that is
going to be more sexually active.
It's called a slut walk. It's literally not shaming. Like, actually, let's do the slut shaming. The slut shaming is something that the feminists came through. Is a point, right? Is you are not going to shame us just because you like to have sex. It's a sexual liberation thing, right? Is that positive or for a woman, well,
Right. The thing I don't like, Nyla, though, is the insinuation that women are getting abused and attacked by men because they're sluts. No, these men will continue to do that, whether women are wearing a whole nun suit, whether they have they're covered from head to toe, no necks or knees in sight. But they will use that as a talking point. Well, if we encourage women to be sluts, then they're going to get raped. Exactly, Nyla. They grape nuns and dead bodies. These men don't have any shame, so I don't know why the insinuation is that if women suddenly dress less provocative and don't do slut walks, that grape and violence against women is going to disappear. Only an idiot would say that. Yeah, they grape turkeys, Victorious. What? I heard they were tearing up them turkeys too. Just ridiculous. Whoop, let me keep playing it.
well-being or negative.
Consider that it's an insult. I would have to say, yeah, you know, it would have to be a negative to call a woman a slut. Like, why would you make it sound like that's going to make her feel good? It's an insult.
Because it's shaming to actually make her do something that is good for her. It's like me calling a man a deadbeat, or me calling a man an abuser.
That made better fathers. More men are better fathers now because they were called deadbeats.
No.
Nobody
No.
wants to be called a deadbeat, so you call him a deadbeat.
No. A lot of y'all dads were still deadbeats.
Really, Taz? That's what we're doing here? So you're telling me, like, talking about shaming? You want data? Remember the shotgun wedding?
Shame me in the
Okay, so you remember the shotgun wedding? Remember when a man would impregnate a woman and then the brother and the father would go to his house and say that you ready to marry my daughter?
Empress said the women on the panel are in compliance like Stepford wives. Oh, yeah. The women on the panel, they're not even going to blink, especially now that I'm not there. A lot of Ashley's points came up when I was there as well. And even though Ashley refuted a lot of what Fatty was saying, she still declared him the winner. Notice that. But they're really just there as talking heads. And, you know, I think it's coming up, or maybe it's a little bit further when he starts talking about himself being fat. I want to get to that part. I don't know if we're going to because it's kind of long, and I got to go eat something before I collapse. But let's hear a little bit more, see if we can get towards that part.
Or my sister, or you out of here. Remember that? Was that good for society or bad for society? Was that actually, no, 1 second. Was that good for a woman or bad for a woman?
It depends on who you ask.
So,
because again, you're not looking at it for what it is, bro. Everybody's not making the same choice. Everybody's not going to be happy and satisfied with the same situation. Some women may have gotten into a shotgun wedding and it worked out for them, whereas another woman realized her power.
Yes, that's true. But also those forced marriages led to violence against women as well. So how is a shotgun wedding?
Power and shit was stripped from her when she was young and she was forced into a marriage. All of that plays out differently for different women, which is why I think women should be there to have that conversation with women, as opposed to me and you having it right now.
So, actually, let me ask a question, right? Actually, me going to the man that impregnates you as my daughter and say, hey, sir, you got my daughter pregnant, you have to take care of her or the kid. Is that good for you or bad for you?
I'm sorry, you're saying that if you impregnated somebody and now the dad...
You get pregnant, there's something called shotgun weddings, right? And
right.
A man will impregnate a woman, and then the father and the brothers would go to that man's house and say, sir, you have to take responsibility for what you need. You lay with her, you have to take care of her and the kid. And now you have a husband and you have to get married because we pressed him on. Is that good for a woman or is that bad for a woman?
I mean, if you're thinking about that time and age, then it would be good for a woman.
And it was not.
How is that bad for a woman?
And it wasn't good for a woman because A, you're being forced to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. And B, That man could be abusive. That man could still leave you. Still not take care of the family for real. Nyla says, I can understand if you're dumb and directly benefiting from mammy so you can't see it. But to mammying on camera with this topic, I wouldn't trust any hoes of there. Right. This is why I had to be booted off, though. Right? I was the only person that was going to tell him, why don't you have any evidence or data? No, you're wrong. What are you talking about? I was the only person that was going to say that. The rest of the women are either going to nod or they're going to answer like her, which is being pigeonholed into an answer, and then saying something stupid enough. Right. Exactly, Taz. Why is he redirecting to a mod anyways? Because the mod is there to fluff his argument. The mod wasn't really there to give evidence or to agree to... The mod was there as a fluff. He was supposed to direct the question. You guys were supposed to have the question between the two of you. Why is the mod having to answer something that he's trying to... Why doesn't he have data or evidence or anything? Because they're there to fluff. I'm surprised, Taz. If this was one of their other debates and maybe they were less afraid of the information that you do know, you would have seen some of the moderators that they had there would start arguing. They would start arguing with the person who was disagreeing with him. That's why I've never wanted to debate him. What would I look like getting up there knowing damn well that everything that I say is going to be argued against? And then on top of that, by the moderators who are supposed to be impartial. Now it says that's the personification of being male identified. They basically said they don't care about women and children. Right, because they believe that male talking point, that shotgun wedding somehow benefited women, as if all those women weren't sad and lonely and depressed and being put through walls by men that they were forced to marry.
How is that bad for a woman?
Not that it would be good for a woman.
In 2024, I believe it's bad for a woman that the man that impregnates you actually has to take care of you, take care of your kid. How is that bad for a woman?
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about all things and not just an overnighter, if you're raped, why would you want them to take care of you?
Nobody will tell the rapist to
no one's doing it. I mean, this is a small amount of people. You're talking about in the 1960s when our grandmas were doing shotgun weddings. No one's doing that today.
Please don't deflect. Let's take the shotgun out of the way in 2024.
Okay.
If you get pregnant by a man that you laid with consensually, and I, as your sister, your brother, or your dad, go to him and say, you have to take responsibility for what you did. I want y'all to get married so you can actually be together, take care of her, and raise the kid. What's the negative about that?
What is the negative about that? You don't care about that person. You just had a baby with them. You don't like them. Why would you do that? You're asking me the negatives to it.
Like, is he debating her now?
Just because you had a baby with them.
Are you pro-choice?
Yes, I'm pro whatever you want to do.
So let me see if I get this right. You think it's negative for you to fuck a man and not actually make them cut you and taking care of you financially and the kid, but you are willing to abort the baby and you see no problem with that?
No, that's not what I said.
So why are you have these two distinct opinions? Is abortion?
You need to think that one.
Is abortion positive? And I'm not talking about rape. I'm talking about just you deciding to have sex with a person, get pregnant, and take the kid. Is that positive?
I see what you're doing. You can have two things at once.
I did not.
You can either get married to somebody you don't want to be married to just because you had a baby,
That was not the
or
question.
you can abort it.
That was not the question.
So how does her saying that women should have a choice correlate to her meaning that she will get an abortion and the man who pumping her is not taking care? Where do you get that? Where do you get that from? Now it says there's been too much data shared and social media literally exploits the history of oppression of women all day. So everyone should know that shotgun weddings were usually abusive marriages. Right. But that's why I said if a woman's on here is agreeing with that first of all, she's not well read. She's just listening to these men and agreeing with the stupid shit that they're saying. The shotgun wedding was not beneficial to the women. It was dangerous for the women a lot of the time. Because if he wanted to be with her and take care of their kids, he would have did that. Nobody would have to put a shotgun to his head. But because they had to, a lot of the times they would take that out on the woman. They would take that out on the children. The whole family would suffer because the man was forced to be in an unhappy marriage. Where as a woman would you say, why would you in your right mind as a woman say that a shotgun wedding is good for you, knowing all the history behind it? I didn't want to call them airheads, but yeah, they're definitely airheads. Definitely airheads, and mostly because it's purposeful, right? Them being dismissive of the realities that women really went through and how dangerous shotgun weddings really were. Yeah, you have to be an airhead to agree with that just because somebody telling you to. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, they're not dumb though. They're not dumb. So when they're making these points and rationalizing the stupidity in their head, they know they're wrong. They know they're wrong. Sorry, y'all, I just dropped something. Let's continue though.
The question was, since you are pro-choice, is that positive?
Is it positive to have an abortion?
Yes.
If that's what you choose to do?
Yes. So if
Yeah. If that's what you choose to do?
I will concede.
Okay.
I will concede. Let's talk about fat shaming, Taz. Fat shaming. Is it okay for a woman to be morbidly obese and instead of people, the patriarchy saying go to the gym and lose weight so you don't die at 30?
Well, why doesn't the patriarchy tell you to go to the gym and lose weight? Huh? If it's about health and doing the right thing, why doesn't the patriarchy tell you as a man that you should go to the gym and lose weight too? Because how can you be fat telling women that they're fat?
And you can have kids without complications. Is it okay for families to come around and say, fat shaming, you should fat shame a person just because they're fat? Is it something families push? Is that positive or negative for that woman then?
What, to be insulted?
Is it positive? Is it positive for you to say that you shouldn't tell a woman to go to the gym and to get in shape because it's fat shaming? It's wrong to do. Is it positive?
It depends on who you're talking to.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
Well, that's what I'm not fat, so I don't know what it's like to be fat shamed. I've never been fat. If I was once fat and had to slim down and now I'm, running around still calling myself fatty, then maybe I might have an understanding of that. But I ain't never been fat. So I don't know what it's like to be fat and I ain't never been shamed for shit. So I don't have that understanding. So I don't know what it's like to be a woman to be shamed of something. Like y'all want to save women that ain't interested in y'all. I'm trying to figure out what's the point here.
Okay, Nyla, thanks for coming.
So telling a man or telling a woman to go get in shape because you might die, you might got diabetes, you might have some
the audacity.
cholesterol. Like telling a woman to get in shape, and then a family comes in and says you shouldn't tell her what to do. That's fat shaming. That's not negative for a woman. That's not negative for a woman.
Again, bro, I don't think nobody wants to be called fat. So to me, that's probably going to trump whatever it is that you're trying to display. Because if you think about the message versus the messenger and all of that, sometimes it don't matter who said it, bro. It's how you said it. So
Free JDC, that's a good point. Why hasn't fat shaming made him lose weight? I don't know. Maybe because fat shaming doesn't work. Right? Maybe because calling somebody fat doesn't do anything for them, but maybe encouraging them to eat well, exercise, be conscious of their diet. It doesn't work. How many people have called him morbidly obese, and yet here he stands, white as a door frame. If shame works, because they want to bring back shame, if shame works, why isn't, when we shame men and call them broke bandits, why don't they go out and get a job and build and get money? If shame works, why hasn't that helped them? With his titties in his lap, Robin.
Yeah, but I don't want to. and I don't care.
That's fair. So Tess, I am obese, right? Do you think I should lose some weight?
I don't care.
No, I know, sir, we both don't care. One second.
What y'all be over here doing, bro?
We both don't care. Let's once again, we both don't care.
You talk these lanes in the chat and check me, but you ask me about cool body.
Respectfully, on your wife YouTube, everybody's talking shit about me, and I'm not. So if my chat is aggressive towards you, your wife chat is aggressive towards me.
I don't care, bro.
We're just having a conversation. So the question is, once again, you can answer.
You don't want no smoke, bro.
If you know I'm obese and somebody's asking the question, and somebody that's
I'm not in your business, fatty.
No, so you're not going. So if I'm, what if I ask?
Robin.
If you ask me my opinion about you being fat,
Yes.
I'm gonna say that's weird. I'm gonna say that's weird, bro.
So you're not going to give me a restriction. So you're not going to say. So if you have, for example, an eyesight problem, I'm not.
You you fat, bro. You shouldn't need me to help you on your way to slimming down. You don't feel if you're fat. Now we're getting back to leadership and patriarchy, which is what I'm saying about you in this chat room full of fuckboys who don't know what patriarchy is. Because a patriarch ain't gonna ask around like, am I fat? Do I need to lose weight? That's not what a patriarchy is. You're sitting on leadership. You're not sitting on it. What, bro? Say what?
There's a great point. Patriarchy will literally say to go to the gym. But patriarch will clearly say, Teddy, you are fat. Go to the gym. That's what patriarch will say. Go get your fit in order. Go get your fit in order and go to the gym.
No.
The patriarchy says get money and you can still get women whether you're fat or not. That's what the patriarchy says. The patriarchy ain't telling nobody to go get healthy and eat granola bars. The patriarchy telling you to go buy that new Tesla.
You are lying. You are lying. One of the pillars of masculinity is you being in shape. Literally, literally is what it is. One of the pillars of masculinity is not just get money, it's being in shape. Everybody knows about it. So let's compare.
So how long has he known about masculinity being an indicator? Not masculinity. Being in shape being an indicator about masculinity. Because he's been morbidly obese for at least since 2019, right? We saw those pictures of him going to the Lakers game, the big old jersey, wide as the door frame. So when did that conversation happen? When did he come to the realization? Because he talks about himself being morbidly obese. How long has the patriarchy been telling him that he needs to lose weight? And why hasn't he executed? Okay, we know he's been morbidly obese at least since 2019. It's 2024. What is stopping him? Why hasn't the patriarchy successfully encouraged him to lose weight? Free JDC. Y'all are not shit. He said the kicker is he is even bigger at the bottom.
Patriarchy with family. Patriarchy will shame a man into losing some weight, so he's actually lives longer, works better, has a better health, has more time for his woman, can go with that. His son, all of this, right? Because he's right. He's a ward in the garden instead of.
Oh, I'm about to cry.
Families will push. Embrace your curves.
Ooh.
Stop fat shaming. What matters is your interior. Which one is more beneficial? The patriarchy that tells the person to correct what they are actually lacking, or the one part of feminism that says you actually love yourself, there's no need for improvement because they don't love you, you're going to find somebody that will. Which one is more positive? Let's go for
The one that isn't insulting. I mean, I don't know why you keep coming back to a point that I've made several times. If you're insulting the person, no, the person isn't going to respect it. And yes, that's why they call it slut shaming, because you called her a slut, you insulted her.
Okay,
you called her fat, you insulted her.
So since you don't want to engage in the conversation, I'm actually moving a little bit along.
I'm literally answering your question, bro.
No, it's totally fair. There's a conversation. Question for you. The woman wants fluidity. Woman wants the ability to have choices, right? This is what feminists push, right? The equity thing. I want to be an astronaut, a stay-at-home mom, a cooker, a baker, whatever. And I have the choice to go up and down, left and right, go into lesbianism, come back to being straight, having 3 kids, stay at home, and then go for the president of the planet. Like, that's what feminists push. Choice, right? Do feminists like when men are fluid? Do feminism push the same fluidity that they push to women because they want equity, right? Do feminism push fluidity when it comes to men? Oh, let's push stay-at-home dads. Oh, he's a little feminine. I'm not going to call him sassy, right? Does feminism push fluidity among men the same way they push fluidity towards women? Go ahead, you got it, sir.
So I've read about feminists who said don't even have children. If you have children, give them the baby, abort the baby. Like you make it sound like feminists operate under one umbrella or have one ideology.
What is the umbrella they operate on? Establish that. Since I'm wrong, every time I say something, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because some feminists are saying you don't need a man to help take care of your kid. Forget that child support. While another one is saying, hey, take him for everything he got. Take all the child support. I'm just telling you, there are different examples of every point you're trying to make, and you're just throwing feminists around to make the point, which is why I asked you to specify
And he's stupid enough to believe that feminism is just the opinions of women. That's all it is. Any woman with an opinion is a feminist, right? Half of the points that he mentioned are just women's opinions. I don't even think he knows that there are different waves of feminism. I don't believe he knows that. Not even remotely. It's really hard having a conversation like this with somebody so stupid and so not read. Right, exactly, Lana Love. It's crazy because Fatty ignores Taz saying this, and they use this same argument later on. Right, because he's not really making an argument. He's just really trying to get a gotcha moment. That's why some people, you can't debate them because it's a waste of time. Not even 20 minutes ago, we heard him say, well, was I supposed to come prepared to the... He didn't say that specifically, but he said, was I supposed to get this information before or Google it live on the spot? Yeah, you were supposed to come prepared to the discussion. You don't debate somebody on a topic that you have no information on to a point where you have to Google it during the conversation. Why are you having a debate in the first place? Is a debate just an exchange of dusty ideas? It's supposed to be formal. Is it formal to just give your opinion with no facts? Do women know the different waves of feminism? Yes, there's first, second, and third wave feminism. Actually, there's a fourth wave as well. The old feminists don't agree with y'all. Who's y'all? Who is y'all? Every woman who describes herself as a feminist, they take from different waves of feminism. So who is y'all? Why are you guys grouping in every feminist in the same category? Basically, a woman with a thought is a feminist. And using TikTok videos as sources. Yes. The misandrist sisterhood. How can misandry exist within a patriarchy? That's what I really want to know. How can misandry exist within a patriarchy? I'll wait.
An actual feminist and a point I can talk about. Because we talk about actually spans from, because it's a different reaction depending on what we're talking about. All women are not going to react the same, bro.
It's totally fine. You keep dancing, right? I'm going to ask the right questions. I'm going to ask the right questions. Please answer to me, right? And I'll let the moderators actually make points about how many times times I answer questions straight and how many times heads actually dance around. Truth.
So at what point within the whole last 30 minutes did any of those moderators even open their mouth to tell him to answer a question straight? He hasn't answered directly any questions. His sources are subpar, and the discussion was poor from his perspective. I don't get it. Like, how do you come to a debate with so little brain cells? You know, this is really giving me a headache and making me hungry. I was already hungry, but this is giving me a headache and it's making me hungry. I hope that Taz will review this, like break it down for real, like in the way that he usually does, which is you know, showing the stream and stopping it and making the points for the dummies who don't read. Because it's exhausting. I can't sit through none of these debates. You try to listen and it's the same. And imagine two people in a part of the debate, two people who are doing that same tactic. That's what most of those debates are. Robin, me too. I'm interested in seeing a review because this that we're seeing here is not it. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Because this was embarrassing. He came with TikTok sources for a debate. This was troublesome for me to witness in real time. Waste men benefits from the mindset, the patriarchal society. Yeah, it was exhausting. Empress. And you know, he kept saying that people were insulting him and being rude. Besides calling him fat every now and then, on the other side, people were literally refuting what he was saying in real time. They weren't just insulting him. They weren't just insulting. Most of the time it was me. All the other women were literally responding on the spot to what he was saying in her chat. But somehow he got triggered by that. And now he's telling the moderators, oh, well, make sure you guys keep track of how many times he doesn't answer a question straight. He wasn't prepared at all. He probably woke up that day, had a big, large breakfast, played some video games, wasted some space. I know he had some streams. But there's no way he came prepared to this debate. There's nothing here that says preparation. The Blackish Cracker says, Fatty's an idiot. He is. But the thing is, his audience is idiots too, sorry to say. Not everybody, but majority of those people in that audience are dummies. But they like to dick ride and call it out. Right. And don't call it out. He wasn't prepared. He didn't have a real source to cite. Yet somehow all the judges said that he won. I wonder why. He is an opinionated talking head. Right. He has no facts. He's not even able, like, I couldn't even imagine a dust mite like him trying to discuss anything with Cynthia. First of all, she wouldn't debate a low vibrational bandit like this, but she would drag him for filth. That's why she be asking these bandits to call in. And notice, these bandits all know when Cynthia goes live because they will try to trigger women with that and be like, oh, Cynthia G was live. Cynthia G is not on YouTube anymore like that. She only comes every now and then when she needs the money. Right? That's what they'll say. But when Cynthia G opens up the lines for them to have conversations, they can't refute anything. And that's not to idolize her, but I'm just saying they have no data. They should have challenged his talking points. They had no interest in challenging his talking points. I challenged his talking points and he got angry at me. He said women don't work overtime. Women don't do this, that, and the third. I said, well, how can you say women don't do that? How can you say most women don't do that when the care field is dominated by women? So who's working those overnight shifts if not women? Instead of 5K, she would charge 10K for the language barrier and use of subtitles. Right. So I'm going to let you guys go, guys. I got to go eat some breakfast. I'm exhausted. But this dust, man, this dust, you can't take these debates serious. Yeah, he's not from here. He's not from here, but there are foreigners that are well-read. right? That's not necessarily a cop-out. There are foreigners that know how to read, know how to find data. He's just not one of them. He's not. I don't know how people decided to choose him as somebody to have a debate with. I wouldn't. Fatty is not like us. That wasn't a debate, but a circus. That's exactly. It was a circus. This was a circus show, a clown show at best. And it's not just because he's not American. It's because he's not well read. He's not educated in the least bit. Free JDC said, unhype me from your stream. Oh boy. But anyways, I'm about to head out. Thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate those of you who have sent super chats. Those of you who've hit the like button. If you guys could do me the favor and hit the like button on the way out, I'm about to go have me some breakfast. AKA Thanksgiving leftovers. AKA brunch. So, let me see here. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. And you guys have a good morning, all right? I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Please hit the like button on your way out. Bye-bye.